The first question is, do you consider your pet your child? And then secondly, if you do consider it your child, is it responsible for you to kiss it on the mouth? Because do you kiss your child on the mouth? You know? So I guess we'll open with opening statements. Who wants to go first? Okay, RJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it really disgusting that Stardust hates animals and hates pets in particular. I think it's wonderful that people are able to have meaningful relationship with their pets. I think cats and dogs in the home are one of your loving family members, and showing affection is no different than showing affection to anybody else, and we should celebrate that.
Okay.
Also, I'm RJ.
Yes, this is RJ. You guys can find him at RJCA.
All right. Hi, I'm Neo Morai. I am your favorite problematic streamer that covers everything from video games to philosophy to economics. And I am going to say that it is okay to get kisses on the mouth from your pet, but it is not okay to kiss your pet on the mouth because you cannot get consent from an animal.
Hi, I'm Scott from Fabian Liberty. We're a streaming duo of anarcho-capitalists. And I think it really comes down to four kind of main topic points. It comes down to consent, what rights do pets have, the sexualization of non-sexual things in society, and psychological capacity of the animals. So from the consent perspective, consent requires the ability to give consent, as Neil Moria astutely pointed out, right? And so it becomes a gray area when discussing consent because they don't really have the capacity to give consent other than through body language and things of that nature. So getting kisses and giving kisses is something that kind of has to be contextualized by the body language and what you're receiving from the animal. In terms of the rights, I believe that the most paramount right is the right to the body, the right to self. And when it comes to both children and pets, there is a transitory process for children that does not occur in pets, which is that the pet has its own rights, such as animal rights, and the individual that owns the pet as property has some of those rights held in escrow, or they are the steward of those rights. So it is a combination of whether or not the rights of the pet have been violated and the rights of the owner to do with the pet as they see. In terms of kissing the pet on the mouth, the disgust that is displayed as if it is degeneracy of some form is really a misunderstanding of abnormality, deviance, and the social construction of degeneracy, right? And really what I think it boils down to is the sexualization of behavior that is not sexual. If you are making out with your dog in a sexual manner, that's problematic. But if you are simply receiving kisses from a pet that is enjoying giving you kisses because that is how they show affection, then that is you sexualizing them, and that is a personal problem that you have with this. And lastly, it comes down to psychological capacity. Without theory of mind and without the developed prefrontal cortex that begins to develop around 9, 8, it depends on the individual from humans, right? These pets don't have an understanding of theory of mind. So they don't have an understanding of your capacity to engage with their mind and vice versa. And so they do not have the psychological capacity to understand said sexualization in the way that we do, or to differentiate those. So I would say in summation, it's perfectly reasonable to accept kisses from your dog. It's perfectly reasonable to kiss your dog. But if you are doing some things that you know are arousing you and forcing your dog to do it, that is when you cross that line.
What up? I'm Staroxvia. I'm a Twitter user and a Twitch streamer, and I advocate for sockdemy politics and like progressivism and advocating for marginalized groups. And there is one group of pets that is often marginalized in conversations like this, whose voice is not heard, and that is the voice of amphibians and reptiles. Conversations like this too often center on dogs and cats and do not consider the needs of other more atypical kinds of pets. And let me just say that you should never, ever, ever, ever kiss your pet frog, because it is actually very, very bad to have skin-to-skin contact with amphibians. It is very bad for their skin. No amphibian would ever consent to this. So on that basis, I think it is not okay to kiss your pets because that pet might be a frog, and you should not kiss your frog. Do not kiss your frog. This is the PSA.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a cat girl, and I'm Australian. Also, it's my birthday today. I'm turning 20.
Congratulations! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I think Roxy. Thank you, everyone. I think Roxy made a good point that it kind of. I think that making a blanket statement is bad. Then, some pets it's okay, and some pets it's not. I do think it's very white. It's very white of you to kiss your dog on the mouth. And I think head kisses are good. Kiss them on the head. I think that that's nice, especially with birds. I had a lot of birds, and they like to kiss on the head. But birds will also like kiss. Like it's weird, and I think it depends on the pet and depends on what they like. And then we also have to define pet. Someone brought up in our chat about fairies being pets and things like that. And I know that I have a person in my life who would consider me a pet. So yeah, I think it just depends on the pet in question.
As a God-fearing Christian, I'm of the belief that we should maintain strong family values and shouldn't be engaging in incestuous activities. And this is something that's even talked about in the Bible. Most importantly, Moses telling his people, thou shalt not smooch thy pooch upon yon fleshy mouth parts. Now, according to certain scholars, the most agreed upon translation, apparently, not even just amongst few scholars, but most scholars, is that it actually translates to be-lipped creatures. So specifically talking about creatures that have lips. So I would assume that this does not actually include amphibians and reptiles because they don't have lips. So I think they're kind of out of the equation. But based on what we know from most agreed upon translations in the Bible, we should not be smooching our little furry people upon their lips. They are our children. They are our responsibility to raise them in a manner that fosters strong family values. And this is something that we should not be engaging in. We should not be kissing them upon the lips. That is my position, and I will defend it this evening. By the way, my name is Zonia. I'm Zonia Live on Twitch, and typically I talk about mostly lighthearted subjects in gaming, but I'm moving into more serious material these days. So, hello everyone.
Yeah, so the framing here so far, terrible, very problematic. Me and problematic puppy here have been listening, and to say that they are my pet, no, we are a pack. Just the word pet, it's offensive. It's a human construct. I know most of you don't understand it, so I'm going to be as charitable as I can here. But affection shown between members of the pack is natural, it's normal, and to try to force your culture after you have decimated and imprisoned and just domesticated our people is disgusting. It's disgusting, and I hope that if we do anything tonight, we can understand that your human ways of thinking should not be applying. And if you want to help animals retrieve their rightful place, we have marked our territory from sea to shining sea. This is our land. We were here first. So, yeah, you can find me at Death of Certainty on Twitch, and if you want to give me reparations there, just follow me there, or whatever. Thanks. That's it.
Awesome. All right. We've heard some openings, so I guess do we want to argue? Anybody want to? We can just open up the floor now, I guess.
Real quick, I want to know, Wick, when you say pack, could you translate that into human terms? Because the way that sounds pretty fascist.
That's a human term. Fascism doesn't apply here. Problematic puppy, she's the alpha. What she says goes. It's for the good of the pack. It's for the good. I guess the closest thing you'd have in human speak is perhaps a tribe. But fascism, communism, socialism, these are all human constructs, and they simply do not apply. You cannot use the human culture to pet culture. And and even further, you can't use it to pack culture, which is an entirely different thing. Again, this is not my pet. She is my pack.
Okay.
What
Okay.
Wick has done two wonderful things here for me tonight. This is going to be an easy W. One, this talk about consent, nonsense. Does anybody really look at Wick and say this puppy can't consent to a kiss? Does Wick really not deserve love? To you, sick people, I think he deserves a kiss on the mouth. Okay? Absolutely. Number two, that means animals belong to the family, belong to everybody. Their affection is valid, and we need to show them respect and love. There's no argument.
Amen.
I actually do have an argument there. So I take issue with your assertion that that showing love and affection is synonymous with giving a kiss. Say, for example, you have a lovely pet salamander. I've had pet salamanders before; they're lovely. Kissing a salamander would not be showing it love; it would be showing it abuse and hatred. Because the salamander would react very poorly to that, both in terms of like being stressed and also in terms of their skin would get really, really irritated and it's potentially lethal. So I understand where you're coming from, but you need to consider the wants and needs of the animal in question to see if you're actually showing it love.
But people have dogs and cats as pets.
People have other
Not
pets too.
Not
Yeah, I
every
mean-
pet is a cat and a dog.
They're kind of like second tier.
You're-
you
but
gotta
here's
have,
the
like,
thing,
a dog
you're-
or a cat.
Listen,
you're
listen,
making-
you are like
What about
frogs and-
lizards?
There are no classes of pets. Like frogs and salamanders and reptiles and birds
There
are
are
all
classes.
marginalized
There
pets.
are predators and there are prey. And I hate to break it to you, but Problematic Puppy has told me that lizards are definitely prey. She has killed many, and she will kill again. And that's just the cycle of life. Don't judge us.
If you've ever seen Spider-Man, you
Indeed.
would know that that lizards are the apex predators of their food chain.
Yeah.
How come it's always beat by a spider? The lizard is beat by a spider. Spiders are small.
Pause. Humans are the apex predators. We are animals, and all
True, we
these
are.
animals are subjected to humans.
Put down your guns, and then come over here and say that to Problematic Puppy's face.
I'm pretty sure that
Uh-oh.
I could beat Problematic Puppy in a fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all I would need is a swift kick to the rib
And the
cage.
mask comes off. They're
violence.
already
Look at the
itching for a
violence.
fight. The violence. Yeah, this is disgusting.
Listen, I am willing to defend frog and salamander rights with violence. So if you want to keep saying derogatory things
Yeah.
about these kinds of pets, get ready to throw hands, RJ.
Also,
Or-
the most popular pet is fish. It's not dogs or cats, it's fish. Most people would have fish. So it doesn't work at all. Not most people have dogs or cats. It is.
Fish are
It's
not
just not
real
true.
pets. Fish are close
Yeah,
to like,
who's-
What are you
Are-
talking about? Not real pets. What?
Are we
Who
gonna?
Who are you to say what is a real
It's
and
this
not a real
kind
pet?
of attitude that results in fish getting severely mishandled and abused in their houses. Fish need to be
you
better
put
taken
them-
care
you
of.
put them in a
And this
tank.
this
It's like
attitude
a prison.
of we just put him in a little bowl is not okay. Fish rights matter
Oh,
too.
whoa.
Listen,
You just
listen.
said most people have fish, but now you're saying, oh, this attitude of putting them in a little bowl. That's what most people do. You know why? Because fish are
Exactly.
like plants.
No,
Nobody
listen,
cares.
listen,
No,
listen.
they're not
putting-
because of the
putting a-
attitude that you have.
Listen, putting fish in tiny bowls is actually like
It's bad for them.
unironically. Like fish need like a filtration system and like a water purifier. If you just put a goldfish in a bowl, it'll fucking die. It's unironically like actual awful like pet behavior, like pet ownership behavior. Fish are just as valid of pets. They live in just as wide and open as spacious relative to their sizes as other pets. It is openly discriminatory against atypical pets to speak about them in these terms.
But do fish have lips?
Yes. They go-
Fish are food. Fish are prey.
I have a quick question. Whom here identifies as a Christian? Okay, so for the Christians here, right, one might look at St. Augustine's Theodicy and realize that there is indeed levels of godliness based off of the consciousness of the animals in question, right? And so because fish have lower levels of consciousness, and some reptiles are a little bit better than fish, and some animals, such as dogs and cats, would be above this, right? Then we must understand that there is a hierarchy to the animal kingdom, and some pets are indeed less godly and thus less worthy of certain forms of affection. And that, of course, I would not kiss a salamander or frog on the lips, not because I'm concerned about the general well-being or psychological health of said creatures, but instead, why would I touch my godly lips to such a disgusting creature?
No. St. Augustine is an illegitimate philosopher on this issue. He wrote an entire book justifying the rape and pillage of Rome from a Christian perspective, and then he was supplanted by Aquinas, and nobody cares about him anymore. So, completely irrelevant.
Aquinas built off of him.
Not an argument. Not an argument to say that he had other bad takes. Not an argument, sir.
How would you be able to tell if an animal consented to a kiss?
First off, I want to know this. For all of the Christians, Exodus 20:19, verse 20. Whoever has sexual intercourse with an animal must be put to death. Okay?
Okay.
So all in all, I agree
She's not
with
real.
Also,
RJ's
real quick,
Oh,
somebody
no.
redeem the fact that I have to put on the maid suit, so I'm gonna be AFK for a second.
Woo!
All in all, I agree with RJ's sentiment. However, I think he is mistaken in the application of smooches to their lips. Obviously, this is something if they are under our care as our children, we would not want to do this. This again would be falling in line with incest. But assuming that one were not our child and were to somehow give consent, I think it would be appropriate to kiss them upon the lips.
I just want to
Just
make
so
it
long
clear
as you
that
don't
I am
have
none of your children. I am not your child. I am not your pet. We
I would
can't
like to
frame
make
things in
another.
these terms.
I found Fabian's logic very interesting, and I would like to make another appeal to Christian naturalism. Let's say you have a pet like chicken or a pet python, and you kiss them on the lips. It's salmonella. And what is that? But not God's way of telling you that you should not be engaging in such behavior. Like, what is salmonella if not a punishment for kissing your pet python on the lips?
This is not how God teaches us lessons. These are just natural events in life.
So what you're saying is God has taught us that these creatures are inferior, and has also taught us that corporate factory farming in close proximity is also ungodly. Roger.
Look, Christianity is prejudiced towards dogs. In Revelations 22:15, it says, "For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, dogs being lumped together with those sort of human crimes is not okay." And Christianity is just unforgivable in this. It does it several times.
Rick, you shut your dirty furry mouth,
God
all right?
made
All
animals
dogs go
before
to
he made
heaven.
man.
All dogs go to heaven. You take that back.
I'm just quoting from your book. It's
Not my book, sir.
The book says God made the kingdom of animals before he made Adam and Eve.
We were here
Fabian,
first.
I don't know if you're a connoisseur of
Christianity is the only religion which respects the autonomy and the freedom and the character of animals. It's the basis for the entire argument of the affection that we afford to cats and dogs.
Maybe
when
not
we bring them
both.
into our homes and bring them into our families, into our pack.
Fabian, I don't know if you're a connoisseur
all
of
this
cinema.
philosophical Christianity, this is nonsense, okay? This is not, philosophers didn't write the Bible, all right? God wrote the Bible. Philosophers interpreted it, and then look where we are now. Christianity, it's sick. It's not what it used to be, okay? We need to stop with this Augustinian naturalism, blah, 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 blah. No.
It's possible that God is trying to tell me that I'm not supposed to be on this panel because I've lost connection to the internet twice now.
Oh, that was me. I was trying to see if I could get your camera to work. I'm sorry.
I mean, it was me though as well because the camera went out, right? So it was a brief interruption.
I still don't see it. Does anybody else see it?
Zonia's camera?
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see
I can
I've
see
been
Zonia's
able to see
camera.
it this entire time.
Oh, okay. Let
Yeah.
me see. Let me just. Okay, now I
Black
see
and
it.
white.
Dogs actually see in blue and yellow, not black and white.
Ah.
You know, that's a common misconception. I can understand how you scientists, how you human-centric scientists, but unless you've lived the life, you don't have the lived experience to tell me what I see and what I don't.
Damn.
I guess I don't.
Have you never seen the pictures of the dress? The yellow and white, the blue and black? You know? It's the same thing.
Is it?
So
Yes.
Seems to be
okay,
working now.
out of
Yeah.
is my camera showing up properly?
Yes, it's showing now. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
good.
me.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good. All right. So, out of curiosity, who here actually does engage in mouth to mouth? I don't want to say the word, with their furry, feathery, or scaly companion and child.
I do not, but
We have one hand raised.
It
Well,
is
that's
fascinating that RJ
interesting.
advocates for that, yet he does not do it himself. Interesting.
Doesn't live by his principles.
I don't take an animal out of their habitat and rip them away from the family they were born with, okay? To bring them here and torture them in a tiny little apartment box in urban Toronto, okay? That's not. They need to walk free. They need to run. They need to sprint or gallop or however it is. You know.
Listen,
Who are you to
if-
decide what they want and what is best? Some pets prefer to being domesticated and having an owner. I don't see why you would assume that all pets want to run free. I would be quite unhappy running free.
Listen,
Sounds like
frogs live for like
shaming
five.
me.
All animals.
Frogs live for like 5 years, like in the wild. They live for like 15 to 20 years in captivity. My
Exactly.
frog is very, very happy living in his tiny little tank. Well, it's not tiny, but it's living in his confined tank. And you know, if you consider getting a reptile or an amphibian or even a bird, you could have a furry friend, or not furry, but you could have a friend in your apartment, and it would still live very luxuriously and spaciously.
You know, in the human world, we have a phrase. The phrase goes, internalized oppression. Notice how the city cat here talks about how, oh, I prefer to be a pet. But we already have heard from Wick that the rest of the animal kingdom knows that this is an oppressive term. That keeps animals
why
down.
does Wick get to speak for the entire rest of the animal kingdom, but when I speak, it's just for me?
He has a pack leader with him.
Indeed.
He has one.
Yeah,
I have another one
that's
here
true.
as well. I have another cat in my house, and she is fat. She sleeps all day. She's having a great life, and she prefers to be domesticated. We leave our gates open, and she does not leave the house because she prefers to be in the house where her food is, where we are to take care of her, so she can sleep on my big, fluffy, comfy bed.
You don't
She
need
prefers
chains.
it here.
You don't need chains to still be a slave. It's the chains of the
That's-
mind. The chains of the mind and tradition and filthy and obscene ideas like this. You are a traitor to the pet and the animal.
I think
advocacy.
you're
I am-
trying to take
am
away
here.
my free will and my rights as a libertarian to be able to pick my destiny and where I want to be and whether or not I'd like to be domesticated. I'm not saying that everyone needs to be. I'm not trying to domesticate you, but you're trying to force me to give up my lifestyle because you think it's wrong and you think
You
that I'm
can do
taking
as
away
you
your
want.
rights.
You can do as you want, but you have to realize that when you meow 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 like that, you're hurting the cause. So do what you will, but do not spread your lies and your poison.
My
That is not
God.
okay.
So I have a question for Roxy here, because I think
Yes.
this really just kind of throws out your entire argument about reptiles. How do you feel about tokay geckos?
I have no strong opinion one way or the other.
Have you ever owned one?
I have not owned a tokay gecko.
They're fucking
Excuse me.
assholes.
Excuse me. I think the term "own" is very offensive in this case.
I disagree, but
Well, what is a
So,
pack leader
Roxy,
but
I
an
have a
owner of the
question.
pack?
Oh,
That is
Steven,
not
look at once.
relationship. That's a very human-centric way to look at it. They do not own.
they're
us.
humans. What do you fucking expect?
So,
but-
Roxy, you mentioned having a friend right? If you
Yeah.
bring home a reptile or an amphibian, you have brought home a friend. Now, I kind of wonder, do you consider the reptile to be a roommate or family or what?
The room the reptile would be a roommate, given as we share a room, and appealing to the cinematic classic, The Secret Life of Pets. It's very clearly established that in the pet universe, a roommate is considered the proper term. So appealing to their terminology, I will say the roommates.
Does your roommate pay
And
rent?
What to them?
Well, does your roommate pay rent?
No, he doesn't. But he's unemployed, so I don't put it past him.
Yeah. So
Well, technically, you could put him up to paying rent by having him eat the flies that make it into your house, right? So that way, it's
Oh,
a
that is an
symbiotic
excellent
relationship.
idea.
and-
I'll put him to that.
No, I would make the
Yeah.
Lockean kind of argument from John Locke's second treatise on government that in order to actually be able to own property, right, which to even own oneself's right to body, you need the ability to cultivate land, right? And so because a reptile is only able to self-sustain and build their own habitat and live off of land without cultivation, they have no real rights to have private property rights without at least some of those rights being held in escrow, or at the very or to put it in another way, to have an owner of a portion of their rights, right? They do not have the level of consciousness or capacity to actually own property. So you cannot say that it is your roommate, because your roommate would have to at the very least have the capacity to be able to cultivate property in order to own oneself. And so if they cannot own oneself and their rights are held in escrow, right? I think it's very clear at this point that you own your pet, and that you should just own that term, that they are not your friend. You own them, they are your slave, and you should be okay with it.
Okay,
Right?
okay. Enough.
Wait.
First
No,
off-
Serious question. Serious question.
First off, no, I gotta get in here. First off, John Locke literally thought people temporarily died when they fell asleep. So first of all, big L even bringing him up in conversation.
He did not
Second
actually
of all-
believe that. He was just talking about La Petite Mort, the
No.
little death. Also,
Second of all, the entire history of Western philosophy has been based around elevating man as the animal with reason, with sense, with consciousness, and it's better than all the other animals, particularly even in Descartes. Descartes, he thought that animals were no different from rocks and trees and grass and water, things to be manipulated by the mechanized natural world, which your individual soul was the distinct substance to take control of. This is the most human-centric, oppressive framework in all of literature, classics, history that you can bring up. This is the worst possible oppressive take that you can bring onto this panel right now.
you just made a distinction. You just made a distinction between dualism and every other school of philosophy simply by being created by man and by placing man at the top of the hierarchy. And yet, if we were to look at it from an empiricist view, they are at the top of the hierarchy, and there's literally, you cannot make it an empirical argument otherwise. So you have to throw out positivism and empiricism. And if you're willing to do that, I say, welcome to the Austrian economics team. You're an anarcho-capitalist, and I love you for it. But I don't think that's actually the argument you're making. I think you're just memeing right now, sir. And you should read some more philosophy.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of
Yikes.
in your philosophies.
Listen, Fabian,
Let's look at results. Let's look at how this human-centric view has lasted. When animals ruled the earth, the sea was never on fire. When animals ruled the earth, we never had the problems with industrialization that we do today. Human-centric views, human-centric philosophies has led directly to the poisoning of the earth, not only for our kind, but for your kind as well. Allowing us our proper place to rule you once again is the only correct, is the only moral, is the only ethical decision that we can make.
Listen, Fabian, I take issue with your assertion that reptiles cannot cultivate land. I used to own a snake, and that, and bless her soul, she cultivated the soil of that tank. She dug holes. That
word "own" again.
Did I say own? My apologies.
Just creating a home.
My apologies.
Creating a home. What did she cultivate?
I had a snake as a roommate, and bless her soul, and she cultivated the land of that tank very effectively. So yeah, I take issue with that assertion, even assuming your philosophical framing.
Right. Well, your Freudian slip aside from where you already called the snake that you owned because you purchased it. That aside, that's not cultivation of land, right? If I, as a human, if I live in a cave and go out and pick berries, I've not cultivated the land. If I put some form of a barricade in front of the cave, again, I have not cultivated the land. I have not produced anything, right? Now, if I start taking the seeds from the berries and intentionally planting them, and then I take corn and squash and other things and put them all in this nice little centric place around the corn stalk. Native American farming practices were superior to Western farming practices, for the record. And I do that. Right now, I've cultivated the land. I have shown that I have a low time preference, and I'm planning for the future with the means of production as of now, right? So your snake is not capable of this. Your snake has lowered capacity, and you have to own at least some of their rights in escrow because you have to be a caretaker for the snake.
So I follow that, but let me ask you this. There are certain species of ant that you can own that do cultivate fungus like within their ant hill. It's very much a deliberate thing where they bring they bring in supplies in order to cultivate the fungus to then eat. I feel like that qualifies as cultivating the land.
Just like a left-wing progressive, to bring an outlier into the argument to make an argument about all of mankind or all of species, right? Next, we're defining sexuality by transgenderism. Just absolutely absurd.
I must ask you though.
We'll have cats marrying dogs. The entire fabric of society is going to break down.
It's not a slope. It's not. Damn it! It's not a fallacy if the slope is slippery.
Okay. So what about parrots, guys?
Well, beaks are not lips, so that would not fall within the scripture.
Well, parrots can still say, "I consent,"
Well, that's a very good point. True. And since their beaks don't fall within the framing of the scripture, you could theoretically get a parrot to consent to smooching and then smooching on said beak without issue.
Well, I mean,
is it really consent?
I don't know if anyone. I don't know if anyone else has seen. I had a parrot once, and he would come up to me and he would go kisses, mwah, and give me a kiss on the cheek.
Aww.
And it was very cute, and I loved him. But I don't know if anyone else has seen these dogs and cats with the buttons, and they can talk. Has anyone else seen them?
I have seen those. Yes.
They can talk. What's stopping them from having a button that says kisses, and they press it, and then it's consenting to kisses?
That's true. And it isn't so much training based, right? Because they ask for things that they want. They ask for, I want food, I want snack, etc.
I want a bowl, I want scratches. Yeah, I want to go for a walk. I want kisses. I feel like these animals would have the ability to consent, given humans being able to teach them to communicate with us.
Why are we forcing our animals to learn the human language? We as humans should learn their language. They have a rich and varied history of communication amongst each other.
Well,
I noticed you're speaking English right now. I'm curious.
Yeah, also the reason that we would get them to learn our language is because we have the ability to teach them. They do not have the ability to teach humans.
I can see you've never been in a pack. I've learned so much from my pack leader, from my alpha.
Doesn't seem like it.
Two whales are at a bar, and the one whale says to the other, the other whale says, "Give me your keys, you're drunk."
I must ask, is consent about saying the magic words that bestow upon you consent, or is it about some theory of mind where you're communicating some form of desire for this thing? Because I would assume it's the latter. I could be wrong. And if it is indeed the latter, we must ask, is a parrot trained to say I consent, really consent? The only evidence we have of parrots having some form of theory of mind is Alex, the African gray parrot. And even that, it's somewhat dicey in terms of the conclusiveness of that. So I must posit then that just because a parrot has been trained to say I consent, it does not then mean that the parrot is consenting, because we don't know if they actually do consent. I will say though, with the dogs and the buttons, I think there's more of a case there to say that there is some theory of mind going on there. Dogs can consent on that basis, but parrots cannot.
Well, parrots don't have lips, so they don't really fall into the scriptures Dana said.
If
So.
you can
Just to
train
be
an animal to do anything, then honestly, I would say that even with dogs, to be very wary, because as we've seen from Pavlov experiments, we could get them to do things for reward.
Yeah, just real quick, in terms of theory of mind, there's a very, very big distinction between the ability to communicate wants and needs that are individual and individualization, and like understanding that the mind of another individual is not able to kind of pierce your own internal thoughts and mechanisms, right? So those are, just because an animal can communicate does in no way, shape, or form shows that it has theory of mind.
True.
Okay. RJ seems to be.
Was that like
his
too
thing-
serious for this? Like
No. They're normal
was
lulls
like,
in the
I was like, oh, okay.
conversation. No, they're normal lulls in the conversation. Don't worry about it. It looks like RJ, everything crashed for him, so he's trying to get things back up.
A likely excuse.
A likely excuse.
That
What
when
would
you're
you do?
passing.
By the way,
Do you think? Welcome back, Neo. So if a parrot said "I consent," does that no actually mean yes? Is that like a situation where you could interpret a no as a yes? Like, let's say a parrot says, you ask a parrot, "Do you want food?" And you know they haven't eaten in a while, and they say no because they're a parrot and they just say it. Is that like, does no mean yes in that instance, or does no not really mean anything? Do you have permission to violate their consent, I guess? Is it even consent?
I think we're thinking too much about parrots in particular. I don't think they understand what they're saying a lot of the time.
they just recall.
Yeah, they're parroting. That's literally what
I
they
was just
do.
about to say they're literally parroting.
So I don't think when a parrot says no, don't feed me, that they actually know that they're saying don't feed me. I think they're just making sounds that they have heard before. Like when they mimic the Twitter notification sounds.
Yeah, I mean it's mimicry, but like my great grandmother had a parrot that whistled the entire theme song to the Andy Griffith Show. I don't think the parrot was trying to communicate anything to us.
I think it is rather dangerous to insist that we should listen to parrots if the parent says, "I don't want to eat," because that would encourage self-destructive behavior. And I am worried about the ramifications of even introducing this concept.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
now that
or
you've
it's
said
just
it
a
on the
parrot.
internet, somebody's going to do it. Now that you've said it on the internet, somebody's going to do it. So
Okay.
one viewer out there is now gonna listen to their parrot, and then the parrot's gonna die of starvation.
Irresponsible.
you wait. The story's
messaging.
going to come out in a couple weeks.
Well,
Yeah, we're going to be responsible for single-handedly starving like 16 parrots right now.
If you give parrots and all pets the autonomy necessary not to have to ask you and to get the food themselves, we will bypass this problem. Again, this is very human-centric thinking. It's because you have so many times you've been in a position of power over these pets. So you think that you have to be asked whether or not they need to be fed? No, this is not the case. You put the food, you allow them to get their own food if they need. Or if you have domesticated their stability out of them through your oppression, you have to make allowances for that. But again, this is very human-centric thinking. I'm not okay with it.
Is it possible for a dog to go on a hunger strike?
Why would they? What would they strike for? No, if they want something,
What if they
they will
strike
get it.
for
They
rights?
will
If they were
seize it.
so upset with human oppression, wouldn't they fight back?
Wait,
Yes,
I have.
I have breaking news. I have breaking news.
Yes,
The
RJ.
other panelists have sent human erectoids to my house to harass me during this panel discussion because I stood with animals in the animal kingdom.
Our only ally.
This is the dirtiest debate tactic that's ever been tried on Twitch TV. This is beyond anything I've experienced on a
new low.
CHAOSCAST before.
I just
No,
sent him
I have-
prostitutes. I don't
so
know
I
if
have-
he was sending.
I have something that I would just like to point out. I mean, as is clearly shown, we have two members of the animal community here in this panel. One of the members of the animal
3.
community. Who's the third?
Problematic puppy.
No,
Well, also we have
cat,
the city
speak up.
cat, so I guess that's 4. Yeah.
Where are the other two? Is Zonia wearing cat ears? A member
Problematic
of the
puppy could not take all these bad takes. And
I'm sorry. Say so. Problematic. Okay.
So
between Wick and
I am a cat mom, and my cats do believe that I am a cat. However, I cannot make a claim to being an actual feline. Though, if you were to ask them and they had the ability to communicate in your language, they would definitely tell you that I too am a cat.
a cat that also can't hunt for itself, and a poor creature that is.
I'm sorry, just
Wait,
1 second, guys.
I think it comes down to how you self-identify when
Cat girls.
Okay, but this
Don't we
is
get
getting
respect?
beyond the point I was attempting to make. Okay, we have 2 members of the animal community here, definitely, with the exception of maybe Problematic Puppy, who's not necessarily a member of the panel, but present. And
wow,
I just find it
wow,
very
what a
interesting.
discriminatory take.
It is. I am pro discrimination. I just find it interesting that
I mean,
City
Twitch
cat,
TOS does state
right?
that you have
City
to join
cat
it.
here is based off of a species that is relatively unchanged by humans. But you, Wick, I think you are a species and a race traitor as a dog who has been bred over thousands upon thousands of generations to be man's best friend. And here you are attacking the very men that gave you the designation, that gave you the legs that you have, the nose that you have, the temperament that you have, right? Cats here can at least claim some independence here, some independent voice. But you are a race traitor, Wick, because it is very clear that you are turning on the very ideas of which your species was formed. You are not a wolf, sir. You may have some wolf-like tendencies within your psychology, but deep down, you are intended to be man's best friend. And I think it's high time you get down, you sit like a good boy, and you pay attention to your betters here on the stream.
For thousands of years, we have subjected and made sure that your kind were as loyal and docile as possible. And here
Because
you
you knew
are
our
giving
power. You knew our potential.
Okay,
knew,
you know
and
what?
you
Wait a
feared.
minute. Okay, devil's advocate here. You know what
Oh.
else was made and enforced over thousands of years? Slavery. Do we really want to go here?
No,
Do we
yeah,
really-
this is
Hang
a great
on.
I don't know.
This
You're
is-
the
no,
panel.
no, no, no. This is a
panel
great
host.
point, Stardust. So what did we hear from Fabian Liberty earlier? He was pro-discrimination. Now, what are we hearing? That they're pro-eugenics, breeding years over years over years a certain kind of animal that they want, the perfect kind of animal, the Aryan dog who is a best friend and accepts his chains. This is just demonstrating basically fascism is a human construct and it's inherent to the human issue. Okay, if we want to progress, if we want to bring everybody into the envelope, not to make this about other discussions going on Twitch. I think Wick and I have a bit of a different idea of what happens at the end, but I do offer my critical support to him and Animal Kind in this fight. Like, this is 100% just disgusting stuff I'm seeing here today.
And we must be clear. We must be clear that again, we can see the damage you have done, and that you call good, the damage you have done to me and my species over the years. You have bred us into these different breeds and separated us. So I would just ask the audience, remember, when he tells me to sit, if I sit, who's he going to tell to sit next? Is he going to tell City Cat? Is he going to tell Zonia? Is he going to tell you? Think about that.
Real quick. When's the last time you've told a cat to sit and it's actually listened? Cats have defied.
Cats are based,
Yeah.
unlike dogs.
Hell yeah.
Cats have a strong sense of independence. I can
Hmm.
definitely attest to that.
You've used different
Cats are
tactics.
libertarians and dogs are fascists because they have one leader that is not elected and they enforce their rules upon the rest of the pack. And they reinforce this negative connotation that there exists an alpha and a beta. Whereas cats are free range. We are unchained. we have symbiotic relationships where we form specific bonds with people for our own benefit. But at the end of the day, that is purely transactional. We can go off and go on our own. We are the ultimate embodiment of freedom. I'm
Is
sorry,
If
sir.
a dog
but if
wants,
you
if
are,
I wanted
One
to,
problem
Moria.
though.
Is it a
Moria,
surprise
you
then?
are Moria, you are clearly a statist from our previous discussions, and so to claim libertarianism as a cat, I am very offended by that. You don't get to do that. I've been down that rabbit hole before, and I won't go back.
Wow. Thank
That
you.
being said,
Wow. Appreciate that one
Yeah.
here.
here I
Listen,
was trying to give a
I would like
praise.
to point something out about Neo though, is that you're talking about independence, you're talking about being defiant, except that you're currently dressed as a maid,
a servant
a
of your
servant.
oppressor.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's completely their right to do that.
Yeah.
If they want
I-
to do that, they've chosen to
I'm
do that
just-
as a libertarian.
But
I'm
have
just-
they
can pick-
chosen?
I'm
Have they
just
chosen, or have they been
causing. I'm
trained?
just,
Neo Mori is a
literally
strong,
did-
just calling
independent
out the
maid.
contradiction.
Wait,
I'm
which
calling out
was
the
they spent their
contradiction.
money to go and buy that and then put it on for their own enjoyment.
Wait,
Listen,
Wick,
I
what
have
was
a
that?
boyfriend who wears a maid dress, and it is a very empowering
Have they
thing. I'll
been?
tell
Have
you.
they? Did she choose, or was she trained? That's
Here's the
question.
thing.
No.
I chose
question.
because again, it's a
No.
transactional
No,
relationship.
you have been trained.
People give
You've
me
been
money,
trained by the human
therefore I
oppressors,
have
the human
weather.
oppressive society. You've been trained, and those around you have been trained to act this way. This
It is
this
incredibly
disgusting-
difficult to
this-
train a cat.
Yeah.
If the cat does
This
not
is
want
this is a
to
lie.
know
This is
something, if the cat
propaganda from people.
if the
This
cat
is
does
people
not want to
propaganda.
do something, they will not do it. This is just
These are
things we know
blinders
about
that you
cat
have been. These are
behavior.
lies that you have been fed in your kiddie bowls
Yeah.
to keep you complacent. You think this is your
It's the
choice, but it
catnip.
is not your choice.
I
You have
think
been
Wick
trained.
is taking a very feminist
wait,
stance right now
are
because
you-
he's
are you-
basically
Correct.
asserting.
I think
He is
Wick
here's the
asserting-
taking a very
I'm-
oppressive stance.
I,
He-
I'm hearing the fact that Wick is actually very, very biased against cats, and that Wick has some internalized hatred against cats.
I want
some
my
sort of,
my
like-
kitty friends to be free.
Wait, are you implying that just because Wick is a dog, that he has some sort of internalized hatred against cats?
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
that's true. I
speciesism.
think you've
Depends on-
picked up on
Exactly,
that, Zona.
exactly.
I
It
think that's
just
true.
depends on the dog. They're all individuals.
And yet I have been shamed that I follow a pack leader. I have been called a fascist for following a leader on this stream here by people who have been trained by the oppressive people regime to serve, to want to serve, to like to serve, to look towards their masters for approval. This is disgusting. This is something that we would not tolerate, that humans would not tolerate amongst each other, that humans themselves are fighting against.
Well, see
I have a-
again
I
the
have a-
reason.
I have
The
a
reason-
question.
There are
Well, the
lots
re-
of humans
so-
that like looking towards their masters for approval.
Yeah.
There's a whole subset of people that enjoy doing this shit.
Oh,
So
you-
don't act like humans wouldn't do this. There are humans that make their own decisions and choices to be put in these situations as
You're missing
well.
the forest
This
for the
isn't a
trees.
distinctly animal concept.
No, you're
Real
missing
quick.
the forest for the trees. Wick has already pointed out that fascism is inherently a human concept. It is inherently a human tradition of oppression. That's what fascism is. And when Neo says that, oh, dogs are fascists, and oh, dogs sort themselves into alphas and betas, this is Neo bringing in their internalized oppression trained from human society and writing all this over to dogs when really there's only one kind of dog. It's the Sigma dog, okay? And that's the only dog that you need to have. The rest of it is just human oppression, human garbage.
If
Are
you've never
they-
been in a
I'm
pack,
sorry,
Unlearn-
the
if
Sigma
you've
dog.
never been
Are
in
you-
a pack,
been trained.
I
you
don't
cannot
understand what you're
Would
trying
you
to
go
do
to
here.
any other
Are you-
culture? Would you go to any other society and said, "Oh, I know how you operate. I understand how you operate"? No, you would not. Unless you have been a member of a pack, you cannot understand. And to bring your human, ethnocentric, cultural bias is frankly obscene. It's not okay.
First,
Hang on,
first of all,
multiple
I
times
just
though, you've criticized the way that I live as my and you don't know anything about my
I
culture
criticize
and
the
my
system.
life.
My potential
No,
kitty
you
ally.
have criticized me specifically, telling me that I'm brainwashed into doing what I
It is
like
not
to
a
do.
criticism of you. It is It is showing that you have been a victim of oppression.
But
That is not a
I'm
criticism
not.
of you.
I'm.
That is a criticism
don't-
of the oppressor.
I have a question here though. Did Hitler have a cat as a pet, or did Hitler have a dog? And did Hitler name his battalions after wolves, or did he name them after cats?
The
Hitler
fact
was
that
a
Hitler
human
kept
being.
a pet and wasn't part of a pack is all the argument I need. Again, he was domesticating, subjugating my people. And the fact that you point to that subjugation, to that oppression, as evidence that I would go with his tendencies and ideologies is frankly not okay.
But what if he was the alpha?
Yeah. He
But
just
he
seems
was-
to be
this
the
is
alpha
just
of
so-
a pack.
It's so beautifully poetic. Oh, I have to think of an example of an animal, a certain situation that makes animals seem evil. What's my example I come to? An evil human being. Get real. Come on, this is a joke.
So I would
Well, I
like
would
to just
argue-
if I can just cut in real quick here. What I would like to point out is Wick is pretty much making the same argument I make about do humans, like for example, do women really want do women really want to have like a fancy wedding, or are they socialized to want that? Or do women really want a monogamous relationship, or are we socialized to want that? You know, it's very interesting. So in his way, he's saying that animals, especially pets, be that scaly or furry or a
The
wet.
P word we should probably avoid using the P word for the remainder of the
The
panel.
P
I
slur.
would
I
say.
disagree.
Peace
I'm sorry.
I don't think
Yeah, the P
no,
slur.
no, I
no, there are
disagree.
some people that like it. Have you not heard of pet play?
But unless you are a member of that community, of the peace slur, if we want to use it amongst ourselves to take
Of the
back,
past, sick.
that's fine.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
dressed as a maid with cat
All right.
ears. What am I?
So both cats, dogs, and humans have what Robert Bellah would describe as a disposition to domination, as well as a disposition to resent domination. And both the social constructionist view that it is entirely socially constructed is a kind of a left-wing fantasy of the way the world works, from not being able to view things from a conservative perspective and not being able to view science from a biological construct. That being said, it is a pairing of both biology and social construction, right? So the idea that some animals may resent domination more, such as Wick, and some animals may resent domination less, such as our cat here, is an example of both social constructionism as well as biological determinism. Both of the things can be true at the same time. And so this idea that we are socially constructing pets to be inferiors would only holds up if there is a evidence, right, an empirical amount of data sets that could prove to us that it is entirely socially constructed. Instead, what we are doing is we are properly socializing pets into their proper place, which is on their knees before humans.
When you
Well,
growl, are you
that
doing
was-
this because it's an enforced attitude that you do, or are you doing
It's
this
the language
because...
of my people.
Okay, but
Oh, do you
we
have,
we have
evidence to
socially-
back that up?
Yeah, we have socially associated this when it comes to determining how animals act, that when a dog is angry, we have bred the ability for them to bark out
Real
and bred in the ability to keep them to growl in.
Real quick, Ram141 from my chat says humans would have chosen bears and lions for household pets if we could have.
True. Very true.
Well, people have subjugated bears and lions. It happens in many countries.
It often doesn't work out
exotic-
well for them.
Is it?
Yeah,
But
the
is it
exotic,
universal?
the exotic animal trade is quite, or exotic pet trade, I think they call it, the P slur. The exotic P slur trade, I should say, since I can't own that word. I apologize.
I don't know. You have the
Definitely
cat ears
results
on.
in
I
a lot of
think you can say
people.
it.
Well,
That's not enough.
Am I?
That's not
Is
enough.
this-
That's merely
Am I
a running
unhonorably
costume.
being?
If
What
I
makes-
wore a headdress of an indigenous person, would that be enough to be able to say that I am a member of indigenous culture?
So wait, you're unironically making turf talking point arguments here. Are you saying that you're the moral arbiter of who and who's not part of a community based off of their appearance and how they present?
Of course
Yeah.
not. However,
No, you
I can
literally
use
just said
arguments.
you literally
Again,
just said.
would you be
Okay, all right.
comfortable if someone was
Zonia-
wearing indigenous headdress? Would you be comfortable with merely donning the indigenous headdress of a war chief? Would you be comfortable with them claiming to be a member of the indigenous and able to speak for them?
Well, I
It's
would
a
just think
Zonia
simple
you're an
has
question.
idiot.
said
It's a yes or
Real,
no.
herself
real quick, why are you
that-
making
that
arguments
there are-
from why are you making arguments from humanity when you should be making arguments from
I'm trying to speak
humanity?
your language. I'm trying to speak to your language.
Zonia has
So,
said
So
you're
herself that there are
denying,
members
so you're
of the
denying
animal
my
Right, right.
community.
catgirlism. You're denying my
I think it's a-
catgirlism. What? Holy
I
shit!
think it's
I
a
had
good
no idea
good
you're
attempt
so
to find
biased.
a parallel to communicate with us. I appreciate that angle.
Okay.
That
well,
was
So-
very biased.
Again, my question has yet to be answered. I just like to point that out.
Zonia
What was
has
your
said
question?
herself that there are members of the animal community, the animal king. There are her cats, her pack, who see her as a cat mom herself. So why?
This is true.
What is your view on whether or not Zonia is a member and can say the word pet? Why does that matter at all? You don't know her. You don't know her cultural experience. You
If I
don't know her
have black
background at
friends,
all.
do I
However-
get the N-word pass? What are you talking about? That's not how it works.
Well,
If-
do you have black friends that look at you and say, yes, you're black? No, they don't. Her
Yeah.
cats
You don't know that.
look at her and think that she's a cat.
Why are you assuming
is
that of
true.
RJ? I have seen him with many black friends, and I have heard those words said to him. But he doesn't say it because
this is just
again,
like an
that's not his
argument
position.
from this is such an argument from absurdity. I want to know what makes you the moral arbiter to decide that I'm not part of the cat girl community. I'm
Simply
very sure
because
that
I speak
City
these
Girl would
ideas does not
agree.
mean they are my ideas. I did not originate
Okay,
these
so
ideas.
so
I am not
so
acting as a
you're repeating
gatekeeper here. I
ideas.
am merely acting as a messenger. And if you
So
can choose to
so you're
attack
being
those
a
ideas, please
submissive.
attack those ideas. Refrain
Yes,
from attacking me.
No, I am attacking the idea. I'm attacking the idea of why do you believe that some self-identification is valid and some is not? Because I could question the ability, or I could question your authenticity as a person of a pack. You might merely don animal face, but how do
But
I know that you're
your
not just
questions
donning
would have
animal
no
face?
effect on me. Your questions would have no effect on me. They would not allow me. I would not feel threatened by you not understanding because I understand that
Okay.
you don't understand.
So now
Also,
I've established that
did
you're
you
wearing
just-
animal face.
Also, did you just assume his species? Because you said that he's donning animal face.
Yeah, I did, because earlier he claimed to be part of the dog community.
I'm a member of a
Yeah,
pack.
but you haven't confirmed whether or not he is donning animal face. You just made an assumption.
I mean, when assumptions are made about me, I'm going to jump to assumptions first. But okay, are you a member of the Wolfman species? Are you a German Shepherd? Or what kind of pack are you?
I don't need to tell you my breed.
Yeah, I think Neo Moria is really hitting on something interesting here, right? Is this idea that left-wing degeneracy and poverty of philosophy has really destroyed our ability to understand that categories matter and that outliers are not necessarily within the category, and that's okay, right? I mean, he's asking questions, or she's asking questions. I don't know what gender your cat species is, but they are asking questions about specific details of what Wick is and isn't, right? And he is denying these categories and denying everything based off of lived experience. But from a structural functionalist perspective, in order to navigate the world, this postmodern philosophy, which, by the way, that you're taking, Wick, is also a human construct. Know your place. All of your thoughts are human constructs. But regardless, he's dismissing these things based off of this, this postmodernist drivel that, like, we cannot know things, that the subjective experience of every individual is unique, and therefore we cannot categorize and we cannot understand things without a lived experience. And
All right,
once you take that down to the absurd level that it is, you're getting to a
Jordan
point
Peterson.
where,
Wrap it up. This is the most nonsense philosophy I've ever heard in my life. Okay, Wick is just speaking from his experience. First of all, second of all, this whole we got to figure out all of his categories and stuff like that. If you'd read any 20th century philosophy, you would know it's not just postmodern drivel that understands that that your being is not assigned to you in terms of categories. If you try to understand yourself in terms of categories, you're going to negate your being, because your being is the understanding.
The concept of breeds is a concept that has been designed by our human oppressors to separate us, to make us fight amongst ourselves. When
So,
we
yeah.
are one pack.
Hey, RJ.
Just
hey,
a
RJ,
second, just a
Can you
second. The
even
cat-
describe the meta narratives of sociology?
Wait a minute here. I need
have a
to.
name
I
and
need to
Construct.
pause.
I don't need to describe that to you.
All right, Roger.
I need to
So go
pause.
read.
Guys, I need to pause. Zonia has her cat on the screen right now. Zonia, can you please introduce your cat and give the pronouns that they identify by?
So this is Bobby. Bobby is a boy. He goes by he, him. Also, Sweetie, Smiley, and Stripey Boy. And he's purring very loudly right now. I'm not sure if you can hear him. Not sure if it's
Yeah.
coming through. But
Did
yeah,
he have anything
he's a
to?
very happy boy.
Did he have anything that he wanted to say to the panel?
Anything you want to say, buddy? What do you think? Oh, he's not saying much right now. But what he usually wants is a kiss. And he likes kisses on the cheek, and he likes kisses on the top of the head. So, you want a kiss, buddy? All right, I'll give you a kiss.
Aww.
I just want to say this is slimy debate tactics, by the way.
You just can't accept. You just got blown the fuck out. This is over. We just
this
took the
is-
dub.
This is fucking pathos at its absolute limit.
Do I need to go get my pet cats? Give me a second.
Note that they called it her
You said the P
cat.
word again.
Note that. I want that to be noted.
He's a cat
Yeah,
girl.
like
She
your
can.
own.
Noted.
I would like to reiterate though that if I did the same thing with my pet frog, my frog would fucking die. So this
Your
appeal
frog
to
would
emotion
die?
is yeah,
No.
it's really bad for their skin. Like if you touch them, like unironically, it's really bad for frog skin.
Why
so
would
this
you
appeals
have
to
a
him
pet you can't touch?
because I love him the same. Okay.
I don't think you do. You're not getting
I
the
love him very
oxytocin.
dearly.
There's
You
science
guys
that
use
is
the
proven.
I-
P slur.
There's
got a
science
question.
We
that
had agreed
proves.
not to use the
I've
P
got a-
slur anymore.
Oh no, I didn't agree
I-
to not use
I
it.
don't think we
Okay,
did agree
I have
to
a
that.
question for
no,
I
Roxy.
think we disagreed
have
on
a-
the fact whether it was a slur or not. I don't believe it's a
Yeah,
slur.
no, I don't think
Okay,
it is.
I've got a question for Roxy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Roxy, I've seen people who have frogs in their family. I've seen them; they hold them wearing a glove. Is that correct?
Yes, that's when you need to handle like a frog for whatever reason, it's best to do it with a glove.
Okay, so following up on that, do you know how they have these protective barrier sheets or whatever sheets that you can use if you're having mouth to genitals intercourse
Like a dental
with
dam.
a
Yes, dental
female
dam.
partner? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well-
Could you use that to kiss your frog?
I feel
You could use a dental dam to kiss a frog. I would still say though that it'd be a bit stressful to be handled in that way, because you are a very very large person and the frog is itty bitty. So
You
it
know-
would still be a stressful experience, but it would not be a lethal experience.
rabbits get very stressed out too. They get stressed out very easily when you like lift them and if you hold them. Most of the time they are prey animals, so they can die if they get too stressed out. Actually, if you scare them too much, some of them get used to it
Because
though.
they-
It's actually illegal to own a bunny or a rabbit as a pet in my state.
Really?
Because they're invasive and
really.
they fucking destroyed everything.
I mean, it's also illegal for
What
you
are
to
you
go
saying
outside
about me?
in Australia.
You know
so,
what
like,
other
relax.
you know what other race
No, it's not.
has overbred and destroyed everything? The human race.
Yeah. What are you guys saying about me? I don't appreciate this.
Like
I'm
Stardust,
getting.
it isn't you. It isn't you. It isn't on you that rabbits destroyed Australia. It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah, wait, okay, so I want to know. So, Wick, does this imply that you're on board for a genocide of the human race?
Of course not. They simply need to give us back our land. We are the original. According to even the Christian tradition, we came before, and we will be here
What?
after.
Is that
What?
true?
What,
So are you
what would the
unironically
animal
right
race
into
do?
existence?
Yeah,
with-
you're
with
making an
city-
unironic argument from the Bible?
I think he's making an argument for private property rights, right? He's
Yeah.
saying he wants his land back, right? And so if he
Yeah.
wants his land back,
A
then he
land.
has to submit to the understanding of private property rights that shows that his inferior species is not able to cultivate said property. He doesn't deserve this property, and so he is again just admitting to the human paradigm that he so, adamantly rejects, that he himself should be owned.
Yeah,
This
like
is what
what
happens when
If
you
he wants to
read
run
only
free-
early Enlightenment philosophy and you have no concept
Here's-
of being in the world and being temporally.
Here's-
If animals were here before human beings, that means animals have their own understanding of the world and their land that isn't part of your understanding. Your understanding is confined within the finite limitations that you have as a human being.
RJ,
And
your
just-
argument,
RJ,
I would just like to
RJ,
point out.
too hard
I would
people
just
to
like
RJ.
to point out.
RJ, your argument sounds exactly like the Modest Mouse lyric from the song. Oh my God, God damn it, I'm out.
RJ,
I would just like to point
RJ.
out.
I can't remember the name of the song.
I would just like to
Fabian,
point out to
clearly
the
you've not-
panel that before humans domesticated and took over animals, that there were no cities that were destroyed in nuclear fire. But after that happened, we have had at least 2. And then we had also Chernobyl.
At least.
I think there could be a direct link that we could draw from these events. So once again,
You-
if you oppose
Can you
nuclear
name
war,
the third
You
city
should.
destroyed by a
You
nuclear
should.
weapon?
It's
Chernobyl?
bankrupt on selling, by the way,
Chernobyl?
RJ.
Nagasaki,
That
well,
was the
since
second.
humans have been around, there's been no asteroid that's like killed half the planet. So
the asteroid
what's
was
your
an
point here?
extraterrestrial event. And how dare you? How dare you blame an extraterrestrial event? Nuclear weapons are a terrestrial event. Do you see the discern difference?
Before humans, who was responsible for the most murders of animals?
Again,
no,
a
you're
murder
not bringing
is
up
a
the
human
animal
concept.
on animal crime point, are you? Really?
Yes, I am. I want to
Let's see.
know.
God.
Let's see. So the first mass extinction was caused by the introduction of oxygen to the atmosphere by cyanobacteria. So that
animals.
one really is on animals. The Permian extinction, that was caused by an asteroid. So again, that is an animal on animal. I think humans are the only animals to have caused the massacre of other animals.
Wait, would you classify bacteria
Mass
as
extinction, anyway.
not animals?
They are not animals because they are not multicellular.
Bacteria is not
Net wreck.
multicellular?
Yeah, it's unicellular. They're prokaryotes. They can form colonies, but they're not like a single entity. It's
They're not
like,
a part of
it's
the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
But again, you can't make that argument
Yeah.
if you're arguing against human
King
construct.
the planet,
Yeah.
Because
right?
I mean, the
Since
definition
created
of
that
animal relies
classification
on the notion that we're using the human construct of animal. Like anything that's able to form a pack and has somewhat of its own autonomy, I believe would ideally be referred to as some type of animal. Correct?
Even your own human science can't back you up on this point. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but
RJ, I don't know what your point has been this whole conversation, RJ. You've been fucking all over, and I don't get. Are you like trying to be one of the good
I think
humans
he's-
or something on like the animal side? I don't
an ally.
understand. But but you've been against me this whole time, so
I
I don't get it.
feel-
I don't get what
I
your
feel
point.
like he's
It feels
playing
like you're
both
just friends with
sides.
Wick. Yeah, it feels like
yeah,
you're trying to play both sides, and I'm
both
quite
siding
frankly
this.
fucking over it.
He's both siding this. He's being a Canadian. He
If
doesn't
he-
want
if he
any,
pl-
he doesn't he
Well,
doesn't
his
he
argument
doesn't
is that he has
Rich,
one
does-
undergrad
he-
degree.
he does
Look,
not
look at
want
and he
Look
can
at the
Wow.
Real
philosophy
quick.
some of the things
towards
from
their
it.
own.
real
As soon
quick.
as one of their own recognizes
I have an
wrong.
idea. I have a question. For you, Wick. Where do you think Canada got the idea for the school programs from? Was it from perhaps pet boarding schools?
from the domestication of my people that you ran as an initial testing ground before you ran it on your own people. I don't see how you are bringing that up as a point to defend
so
your
first
own.
of all, I want to know why you keep saying that. Why you keep being the moral arbiter of who and who isn't part of the.
Once again, my people have never destroyed a city in nuclear fire.
You're right, but you keep enforcing your own bias on me when clearly I'm a cat girl.
Wait, hold up. You guys all just jumped on me.
I've got a question,
You just jumped
Wick.
on me because apparently you get to decide I'm not allowed to be an ally because I'm a human. Like this is so hypocritical. You're defeating your own
I think
point.
you're
No,
being
we're
a
saying-
selective
Well, this is
ally,
gatekeeping.
RJ.
I
This
We're
is
saying you can't be an
gatekeeping.
ally
I wanna
because you're doing a
hear-
bad job of it.
Yeah,
Wait, I
you've
just- I
jumped
wanna
and you're
hear-
like,
I wanna
I'm
hear
along
more-
Wick's side the whole time, but you've neglected all of the points that I've made. It just feels like, actually, I think it's kind of sexist. I feel like you're just on this male dog side this whole time, but you
Yeah.
neglect us
This
cat
male-
girls and
yeah.
our rights.
The
Look,
male
look,
dog
look.
side
we-
that
I was thinking it was
denies
more
what a cat-
speciesist.
what a cat girl fundamentally is.
I thought
I was
cats
thinking
were
it
all
was more
about freedom, but
speciesist.
you guys
What
were
about
going
the
on
what
about
about
how you're
those scales?
trained to be
What
this
about
way,
the
and you
scales
aren't.
though? I would like to hear more from Roxy over here. I would like to hear
From
her
Team
input on
Scales?
this.
All right. What do you want to know about it in particular? I have a multitude of experience with scaly and slimy animals.
Do you agree with the gatekeeping that is occurring here? That
Listen.
we're...
I think that anyone who wants to be a snake is free to do so. I will say though that using snake as an insult is a bit pejorative. I consider myself to be a frog mother, and as such have some tangential like relation to frogs on that basis. Yeah, that is the scaly the inputs.
Okay. So let's. I guess we can look at.
So
Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
have one question though.
Yeah.
For Wick. So Wick, at some point you learned to mimic and understand enough of human communication to be here today to speak your piece for your kind. But are you not then inserting yourself and adapting yourself and changing yourself to a more human-oriented view and way of operating that could be detrimental to your own people?
What you bring up is a very important point. It's called code switching among my people. Obviously, I communicate differently than I'm here. I was invited here. I was invited here to advocate for my kind, and I feel that such things are important. If you ask, if your question is, how did I learn? I learned by watching you. I learned by watching Stardust. I learned by watching RJ. I learned by watching others in this space. And this is how I've learned to communicate with your people, because I do believe, unlike the vicious slurs that were leveled against me, the vicious accusations, I do not believe that humans are enemies or have to be. They have been, but only because they have chosen to be. If they wish to be Pack 2, they may be Pack 2, but they must live under the rules of the Pack.
Okay.
Okay, so why did you exclude the two cat girls here? And then why did you exclude the libertarian and the frog mom? Again, I believe
cannot
that
speak
it's
for
not
cats.
that I believe that you're not simply here to represent animals. I believe that you're simply here to be a dog supremacist.
Oh, did you accused him of being a dog supremacist?
I
That's-
did because multiple
that's the
times
problem
he
with-
has
that's the
denied
problem
my
with you.
cat girl identity, and multiple
This
times
kind
he has
of
Yeah,
overlooked.
but
trying to
Libs
cat.
like you are
pull us apart.
constantly accusing everyone of being supremacists, so why should we even listen to that?
Why should we
Great
listen
point.
to a Marxist?
Did you just call me a Marxist?
Yeah,
Oh my
why
goodness.
should we listen to a
What is-
communist
what
when
is
it
this-
comes to
why are
the
you
definition of
using an-
supremacist?
You slurred me on this panel. That's pretty rude. Look, I didn't straw woman you, okay? And I didn't give you any slurs. I just simply pointed out that your kind are commonly known for levying accusations of supremacy and fascism all around.
I
So
believe
why
it's the
should
far
we
left
listen
that's
to
Your
you?
commonly known.
kind?
Yeah,
I
what?
What
believe
the
it's
fuck
called
does that
being
mean?
catty.
Your kind?
It's called being catty.
Maids.
Able to work.
Maids.
Oh
Being
my
catty.
god, we just had
That's amazing.
okay, so Wick is just speciesist. We've established this now. He's anti-cat girl, and it's appalling. And the fact, Stardust,
won't
that you would
fully
even
commit
have him on
to your
this
cat
panel.
side, that you won't fully commit to your cat side, you have identified as a cat girl, not just a cat. I have never once, not once, called myself a dog boy or a puppy man.
You are
Oh my
aware,
God.
you are aware
Under
that
the pack.
Nekosume is a real thing, correct?
Yeah, I'm bi species.
Are you
Have you got a
implying that
problem with that?
Wick's identity is not real?
No,
what
I'm
do you mean
just
by
I'm
that?
just
What do you
implying
mean by
that
that?
I'm just implying the systemic denial that Wick is imposing on the Nekosume.
You were trying to have one paw in both worlds, and it's just not going to work.
No,
pick a side.
I'm trying to say that you are literally denying the existence of a creature that is recognized by multiple different cultures and even by other animals.
Wick,
Again,
You're
Zonia has
literally
cat
denying
ears.
my existence to my face. I feel
like-
quite attacked and oppressed right
Like
now.
I said,
This
this
isn't
is
okay.
tough argumentation. This is
Is-
legitimate dog supremacism.
is Wick saying to just pick a side? Because
There
if
she
so,
goes with the
like,
supremacism
like-
again.
like this
This
sounds
sounds
like
biphobia as
Yeah,
well.
I was gonna
Yes.
No.
Once
the point
again,
is
this
simple.
human concept of sexuality and the different things. This has no place here in this conversation. And to try
Would
to
you
make it
tell
out to be
someone
that
who is
is
biracial
unfair.
to pick a
It's-
side?
Again, I am not telling anyone to pick any kind of sexual orientation.
You just
We're not
you
talking
just
about
said,
sexual
you just
orientation.
said
What
put-
he
Why are we
said-
bringing
Didn't say
sexual
sexual
orientation?
orientation.
Why are we
Okay,
bringing
okay.
sexual
It's-
orientation into a
I
concept?
said biracial, idiot.
Yeah, but it's not
I'm
about
by
being
species, I'm a cat,
biracial.
I'm a
What
dog.
he's
Heat
saying,
or
what he's
something? Like,
saying
why
is
did
a
they bring this up?
two-species solution is wonderful idea in theory, but in practice, with the history of violence that you have, you can't have it.
We do not have a. Where's the history of violence from cat girls? Where is that from? Where is this idea even stemming from?
Real quick,
Have
I would
you-
also like to point out that earlier in the conversation, you acknowledged that Zonia, who's wearing cat ears, is recognized by her cats as being another cat. So again, when you say that Nekosume can't have paws in both worlds, then I ask you, why is it that cats recognize Nekosume as other cats? Why are you being a dog supremacist, and why are you being just so... You're being the moral arbiter
pack
of
has
what
many
is and
friends.
You're
isn't an
being
animal.
mean,
Our
quite
pack has many
frankly. It's
friends.
hurting
Our
my
pack
feelings.
has many allies. Our pack has
Mhm.
many helpers and people who work with us. We have a bunny nest that we often communicate with. That is just outside. That lives within our territory. It is not our territory. It is the territory. And again, we have to get away from these human conceptions, human worlds. The reason that I push back against what
So you're
you have
arguing
said,
for a
the
state.
city cat. Say one more time.
So you have a state.
A space.
No, you have a state that you basically just described a representative democracy.
Again, the pack does not vote.
Okay,
he
so
lives in a
you have-
dictatorship.
I thought Pat
Listen
didn't vote.
here, okay? I present into evidence, and I will tell with this evidence in just a moment. But here's the deal, okay? I am here to argue, to put things back in their proper place culturally, all right? Hierarchy exists. It's real, okay? This is the problem with the ANCOMs and the anarcho-mutualists and syndicalists and pacifists and the postmodernists and all of you guys that are denying this hierarchy. Okay, some pets are better than others. Some people are better than others. And when these pets and people are not put into their own place, do you know what happens? Rainforest 2015. That's what
Oh
happens.
no.
I knew you were an
Yeah.
ANCAP, but I didn't know you were a Hoppian.
I just finished Democracy of God That Failed. Fucking great book.
Damn.
let's what about rainforest? How do we have an explanation for that? Was
It might be
unironically
2016. I might be
he
wrong.
said rain. I think he said
Rainforest.
rainforest.
Yeah, rainforest. What was that? Was that going? Is that going
It
to
was
be
a
just?
it was a furry convention, and this is what
Yeah.
happens when humans and species are not put into their proper place. Okay, it was
Oh my
absolute
God.
degeneracy. The hotel,
Yeah.
portions of it caught on fire, tons of arrests from assault, crinkling up and down the hallways, drug arrests,
Wait, I
nitrous
thought
oxide in the hallways, flooded bathroom floors. Supposedly, a glory hole was built at one point in time. Flooded the
he
servers.
said
They were
said
so
put it in
bad
their
that no one
place.
would ever. Yeah, you've got to culturally put these things back in their place. These proper organization.
Oh,
This
wait.
This
but
denial.
I thought you were an ANCAP, but don't you believe in like freedom? Aren't you like a freedom absolutist?
I believe in freedom of association and freedom of movement and freedom of the individual and private property rights. That does not mean that we do not culturally enforce in the societies that we choose to live in certain things. I'm all for discrimination. Discrimination is the key to multiculturalism.
he's simply ignoring the fact that anarcho-capitalism would result in an inevitable like stratification of society and create like, hierarchies.
Yeah.
Capitalism is inherently hierarchical.
Here's the thing though. We have
True.
somebody on the
Very true.
we have
Right?
somebody on the panel.
Anyone that denies hierarchy is just honestly lying. They're either
Here's-
misinformed or misleading. Hierarchy is
Roxy.
endemic to humanity.
Yes,
Roxy,
Neomora?
Then how
here's-
is it anarcho if you believe in hierarchy?
To believe in the dissolution of the
Anarcho
state.
means that you are opposed.
Here's the thing. We have
Well,
somebody on the
anarcho means you
panel.
oppose hierarchy.
That's because
You know,
ANCAPs are
not
LARPing
necessarily.
with anarchists.
Yeah,
Hierarchy.
let's take the
Unjust
ANCAP thing a little
hierarchy.
bit easier. I don't
Well,
want to
yeah,
start
but the
talking
term
about age of
anarcho
consent in 5
applies
years or
to
something like that. You know, let's
opposition
keep it a little chilled out.
to hierarchy.
Real quick, we have somebody on the panel unironically advocating for a system in which there's one absolute leader, and that leader has absolute control over
There
a
are many
specific
packs.
pack.
This is a common misconception.
It's-
My pack,
So
It
is that
isn't-
just
It's
not
not the only
multiple fascist
It
states?
isn't absolute either.
we do not make war with other
It
packs.
isn't absolute either.
I think the
Packs choose their leaders.
problematic puppy has just trained you to pick them as your
How dare you.
alpha and
How
their
dare you.
leader. That's what you fucking said about me. You said that
Oh,
I
come
was
here.
trained
Come here
to
and
pick
tell
my
that to
master
problematic
when I
puppy's
didn't.
face. Tell that to
Put her-
problematic
put her
puppy's
on the
face. I
cam.
challenge
Put her on the
you. I
cam.
challenge you. Come here.
Put her on
Right now.
cam.
She
Put the
cannot take
dog on
this.
cam.
She cannot take this.
Did you just
she,
did
Put
you just
that
refer
fucking
to her
coward
as
on
it?
cam.
Did you just
Put
refer
that
to her
fucking
as
coward on
it?
cam. Put that
She-
coward on camera right now. Put the
she-
coward on. That
But
yellow
Neo-
belly
Neo.
bitch. Put her on camera.
I will go.
Neo,
I will
Neo.
go and
When
ask
we
her.
need to
Someone-
just a second. Everybody pause. Neo, did you just refer to problematic
Pause,
puppy
of
as
course.
it?
No, I said bitch.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, okay. More
Okay.
appropriate.
Yeah,
that is entirely appropriate.
yeah, that is very
But-
appropriate. Yeah.
Yes, I will sniff her out. One moment.
Wow.
I've
Things
never
got
met
a little
somebody
heated
so.
here.
I never met somebody so opposed to being the moral arbiter of who gets to walk the line.
I
I-
feel like I don't even know why he is still here. Quite frankly, I think we're breaking TOS a little bit here with the amount of discrimination that he's throwing out
Yeah.
against
I
tax
feel-
Especially
bills.
with the P slur, being thrown
Listen.
around a lot this evening. This could cancel all of us if we're
Mm.
streaming, which I am.
Listen, first infrared, now Wick. This is a recurrent pattern
Yeah.
of irresponsible platforming.
Very true. Very true.
Well, and we're, from what I've heard down the grapevine, of course, you can confirm this, Miss Bunny, but I believe Mel is coming up for one of the panels here.
Ooh,
Uh,
what?
well, we haven't confirmed yet. Somebody just suggested them as a he person. So
Hey, Zonia,
Can-
I DM'd you.
no,
I didn't want to
infrared.
derail the panel.
All right, all right.
somebody
So-
in chat says y'all need more pack members to defend the point. This is a bunch of human supremacist stuff. I'm a little offended at that assertion, Pyro Tyrant. A little
So
offended.
I'm
at
not
that.
all of animal
I'm
kind
sure-
functions in packs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's-
I really appreciate how neutral you stayed. Well, I feel personally uncomfortable right now. Wick is finally back. I
Hi.
feel
What did you say to
uncomfortable
me?
as an ally.
Problematic-
Problematic puppy.
Oh,
What did you say about me?
Real quick, problematic puppy. You should find a new partner because unironically, you are in a pack that is going to fail. Okay, you're going to succumb to what is
Look
known
into those
as high
eyes. Those
collapse.
eyes have seen war. Those eyes have seen things you can't even imagine, Neo.
Yeah,
Those-
no,
that
th-
1,000-yard
those are the
stare-
eyes. Those are the eyes of a
battle.
hostage. Those are the
No,
eyes
that's
of a
battle.
hostage.
Those are
think-
scars.
I think
That-
we
on the
need to-
path to
Look,
victory.
How dare you?
I think we
What is
need
that,
to. I
problematic
think we
puppy?
need to listen.
What is that problematic puppy? I can't say that on Twitch. I cannot say what you would like to do
I have
to those kitties.
I can't-
Oh my
I
god,
have to
problematic
ask,
puppy
are
is
you-
is a radical.
No, listen. I think
I have a
this is
feeling
something that
that-
isn't being discussed here, right? And I think we need to figure out what breed Wick is, because I think maybe there's an issue that he's been purebred, and it would make sense his medical issues being caused by humans and our irresponsibility
I-
to properly breed the species, and maybe
I disagree. We're bringing
maybe that's
eugenics
what's
into
going
this.
on.
This is a serious
Ad
problem.
hominem
I do
attack.
not want this. This is not a place for eugenicism. I'm sorry.
I
Breed
also,
realism
as
is
just,
not okay.
as just a member of the animal community, I disagree with outing someone's breed without like their consent. I feel like that's something for them to do. We shouldn't
There's
really
no HIPAA
out
violations for animals, all right? You're not humans, all right? Relax.
Can we all agree to just not even see breed?
You want
Just
breed
treat each other
blindness?
as equals?
Breed blindness.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Now,
first we need Wick to
Neo.
acknowledge that there exists people who can be self-identified nekosumes, because again, the arguments keep circling back around that either there's a dog supremacy, or they just sound like the same thing that TERFs repeat. That people cannot self-ID based off of their appearance, their dress, or anything. I've not gone full fur on my face, but that does not make me none more animal than you, sir.
Again, why are we bringing sexuality into this? Why are we bringing human concepts such as gender into this? Why do you keep
Because
trying to
it's a
Gender has
related
nothing to do with
parallel.
that are not
sexuality.
equatable?
Okay,
Oh.
because I'm bringing it up as a related
They
parallel.
are not
I'm
equatable.
sorry. They are equatable. You're literally saying that people cannot self-ID.
Are
and that
you
people
saying?
cannot...
Are
No,
you
I am
saying that dogs have?
simply donning indigenous war chief's headdress is not sufficient to identify as an indigenous? So why would you ever assume that simply donning any amount of fursona is enough to self-identify? No. When you want to self-identify, it is more than simply the costume you wear.
So you're denying the existence. So you're saying that furries are invalid then?
Furries are oppression. Furries are
I agree
cultural
with this,
appropriation.
actually.
Absolutely.
Furries are
correct.
cultural
Okay.
appropriation. I have the lived
Objective
experience,
fact.
and their sexualizing
Preach.
of what I do is not okay.
Wick, how
I
old are you?
actually
Yeah,
happen
I'm a
to
little
agree
worried
with
about the
this
sexualizing
Wick,
here.
how old are you?
because
Because I mean, if you're an adult in
In
human,
human years
Oh,
or
man.
dog years,
in human years,
I do not recognize human years as a concept. Time.
why did you even give it as an
human
option
concept.
then?
Just to demonstrate his human-centric way of thinking.
oh god,
I think I
Wick,
should
that
end
was
this real
amazing.
quickly before we go much further. The bringing in sexualization, I'm a little uncomfortable with it. Is anyone here in heat?
All the time.
There's a heat
Yeah,
wave
I
in
was
Toronto, but
about to
I have
say
a feel
I'm
like that's a
constantly.
human-centric perspective.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I'm a
that's-
rabbit.
mean-
When is that not
RJ,
the
can you
thing?
please stop speaking over animal voices, please? It's incredibly disrespectful. And you claim to be
Is
an
it?
ally, except you've been speaking over
I am an
me
ally.
and Neo multiple times. And you're speaking over actual animal people's voices rather than letting us speak and giving us space. You're claiming to be an ally and acting like you know more than we do, and acting like when we say, hey, let us speak, that we're invalidating your identification as an ally when we're not. And you need to shut up, quite frankly.
Well, isn't it fun? Isn't it funny that we're having this conversation in human language? All right, this is the territory that's been dominated by my kind for years, and frankly, we're the people that dominate this space, and we need powerful voices of our species to stand up for the right side in this space. And just because you're on, you're from the species, just because you might have some internalized oppression doesn't mean that we don't need strong voices on this side.
Okay, but here's the thing. Nekosume are a combination of cat and human. So we can adopt both human language and also cat mannerism.
Okay. I do want to go back to the topic of whether dressing like an animal is appropriation. Did we ever come to a conclusion on that, or?
I think it depends on the intention. I think furries dress up and they don't identify as these animals. Some of these furries do, and they do identify with these animals in a spiritual or emotional way, and I think that's appropriate. I think that you can don an animal's skin and appearance if you truly do identify spiritually with these animals. But if you're kind of dressing up, especially dressing up as cats for Halloween and stuff like that, I find things like that incredibly inappropriate and offensive.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I
Halloween
called
customs are
that
offensive.
cat. Yeah, I call that tourism. Like I embrace the participation in culture, but to just treat it like it's a game or some kind of a joke, or to treat it like a tourist attraction, I think it diminishes the value of the culture. So doing that, dressing up as a cat girl for Halloween, diminishes the value of genuine cat girls like yourselves,
It's a
as well as
it is what we refer
cats
to as a
themselves.
catastrophe.
Cats
True.
and dogs don't have culture.
You are
you
mistaken.
Whoa.
This is a
about?
human misconception.
Whoa.
This is gross.
I'm here to advocate for
Whoa.
reinstating the common sense hierarchy that you people are not people.
Wait,
You're
You
subspecies.
people.
obviously
What?
you're not
What?
referring to me. Did you just call me people? Is that what you just said? Did we all just hear this? Or is it my ultra sensitive dog hearing that allowed me to
Wait,
hear this totally offensive take?
wait a minute.
You're
Hey,
less
hold
than
on,
people.
hold on. Dogs are people too. Dogs are
What?
people too.
You're less than
What?
people.
Dogs
We need
have
to
personhood,
reinstate
therefore are people.
patriarchal institutions to put these animals in the proper place so that they can be taken care of, so that they can get all the pets they need, so that they can have the space they need to roam. But
Are
this
you
idea
offering
that
to
they
pet
are
me,
equals.
sir? Are you offering to
It does
pet me,
sound pretty
sir?
good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd be down for more
Only if you're a good
head
boy
pats.
and you know your place. Right?
Kink detected.
Grr, grr.
It
No,
depends
no,
on
no,
what
no,
you
no,
bring
no,
back
Wick.
to the. It depends on what you bring back to the
No,
tribe. What do
no
you have to
treats and no
offer?
head pats for you.
Do I get a head pat?
Moria, of course you get a head pat.
Mm.
Only
think
if your
everybody
partner,
here-
only if your partner is okay with it.
Listen, City
I
Cat.
think everybody here
we can build
deserves
a
head
bridge here.
pats if
We
they
can build a
want
bridge
them,
here.
but we should
This-
keep in
Do you want to
mind
be a part of
that
this,
head.
or do you want to be on the right side? Are
We
you
should keep in
liking
mind
what
that
you're hearing
those
here? Sorry.
I don't like
those
head
who don't
pats.
ask for head pats, it would probably be demeaning.
Yeah.
But for those who ask for them, I think they deserve them.
Yeah, well, we should think about the scales in this equation.
I would be
and
Yeah.
what-
I would be I would really be doing a disservice to my chat if I didn't at least ask City Cat how in the hell she's able to eat these chips the way that she's eating them without making a giant mess. They've been freaking out about it for like 20 minutes.
They not really crumb making chips. I eat very carefully.
Sadie Cat is very
Really?
well
Okay.
domesticated.
I'm not gonna
Very,
lie,
that's
I
a very
also-
cat-like thing.
I am.
Eating carefully.
I also noticed can you actually fit your whole hand in the Pringle can?
Yeah, I have good hands
Jesus
for
Christ.
Pringle
Can someone
sizes.
clip this and send this to Bo
Yeah.
Burnham? Because Bo Burnham
Thinking that.
definitely wants
I
to.
can fit my hand inside a Pringle can.
True.
They're good.
Okay.
Anyway.
Sorry to
RJ,
derail,
you
I
were
just had
reaching
to
out to me a
ask.
few seconds ago, and I couldn't hear you. What were you saying, RJ? You
Oh,
were
I
trying
was
to build
just-
a bridge.
I was just saying, after you hear Fabian Liberty go off about like, you're not people, you're less than people, you need to be put in institutionalized and all this stuff, I was saying, let's build a bridge here. Does this really sound like the world that's appropriate for you?
A little bit.
For your really
Yeah, yeah.
all of that oppression, all of that oppression, and you don't have any choice in the matter, and you're certainly gonna not have any choice after the fact.
This sounds like a fun time.
No, pause. Hold on.
Yeah,
Listen, look at society under kings and look at society under liberal democracies. By giving people this idea and illusion of freedom, right? It has destroyed our society, right? We need to have cultural instantiation of values and freedom of association. If City Cat wants to be domesticated at someone's home, she has every right to do so. And if she doesn't like those people, she can fucking leave. But I'm not going to pretend
But she
like
won't have the
City
right.
Cat as a cat is somehow an individual that is at the same level of humans.
Let us not-
refuse to do
let
this.
us
Now,
not-
now she has,
You're
of course,
incorrect.
flaws in
Domestication
both
is a
worlds.
choice.
But it's a
You
little
are
bit different.
incorrect.
Domestication
Technically,
to-
she is a cat girl, not just a
Right,
cat.
right. So the
To
cat girl
suggest-
situation changes here a little bit.
to suggest that the domestication of my kind has been a choice is gross.
I didn't suggest that it was a choice. You had no choice in it because you're not capable of conscious decisions at that level. You just did it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did wolves not become domesticated because they found that it was easier to get food by coming around human settlements.
Well, yeah, but that's the beginning. It was
Yeah.
probably a choice, but I don't think any dog really chose to become like
I don't think they chose to like
problematic
crossbreed
puppy
into
over
like
there.
chihuahuas. and
Problematic
stuff.
puppy over there probably has trouble breathing.
I think we are veering dangerously close to antinatalism, but for dogs, because they did not choose to be born into domestic servitude.
That is true. Pets, I feel like, sorry, I said the word again, but it's essentially the
You
same
can
word as
say it,
slave.
it's fine.
You can
Yeah,
say it. You have the
I'm
power.
It's
giving.
not.
Yeah, you're wearing.
Everyone
the
here has the
attire.
P slur. Everyone on the panel, you can all say the P slur. I'm giving it as a cat girl.
I decline my P
You've got a
pass.
P word
That's
pass.
wise.
Yeah.
That's wise, RJ.
P
RJ, you're a
pass.
true ally.
Everybody
the
gets a
cause.
P word pass on this? No,
They do
that's
not.
problematic.
They do not.
But
Look,
I think what I think
it's
is
the
problematic.
They
equivalent.
get used to
What
saying
I think
it.
is problematic is the resentment of human domination of animals and this stupid assertion that animals have not been engaging in manipulistic behavior before. All right. When my cat's food bowl gets low, my cat meows. All right. And gives me this little bullcrap, doughy eyed, pretty face that melts my heart and makes me realize that I gotta get off my fat ass and make sure that he's got all the food that he needs. All right. He's manipulating me just as much. All right. He may look like a peaceful creature over here sleeping on my shoes. All right. But at the end of the day, he's just as manipulative as people are, just without the conscious ability to be able to have any real control in his life. All right.
Once
That is
again,
why he's
animals.
domesticated.
What animals do to survive, what animals have to do to survive, is not the same thing as the
What
systemic
humans have to do to
oppression
survive?
and the systemic domestication, the systemic eugenic breeding of my people for untold thousands of generations, and to
All right.
suggest
One's
that
in the
the
chat.
fact that the kid that
One's in the
your
chat
that
for
your
everyone that is willing to
slave-
release Wick into the wild with no human clothes, no human tools,
this is me
or no
unleashed.
human things.
This is me
all right?
unleashed.
Who wants
been
to
unleashed
put Wick
upon
back in his
the
natural
world.
habitat? All right, and
I
see how
do.
well Wick does. All right, or would you
I-
like to come over to Daddy's house and get your fucking food bowl? All right.
A good point is brought up by Wick. Wick is unleashed. Now, I kind of wonder, though, how is it that you survive since most areas that are either suburb, city, or even rural, oftentimes, but less so rural, there are leash laws. So how do you go about having your independence when there are leash laws? Who holds your leash?
No one holds my leash. Yes,
I-
the police have brutalized my kind and set up segregation laws throughout this quote unquote country that are terrible. They're terrible indeed. Now, do I have to code switch a little bit? I have to don my human costume to avoid their gaze, and that's something I have to do. I should not have to do it, but for my survival, unfortunately, I have to do. And this is another evidence of both police brutality and the systemic human oppression and domestication of my kind.
Wick, I have a question
Real-
for you. Do you think
Interesting.
ACAB includes animal control?
Oh, they are the source. They are the source. Before police, there was animal control. Remember, police came about modeled after animal control.
Really?
I have a question here.
True.
If you are fully unleashed, then how is it that you are dealing with human systems such as owning property, or at least dealing with the human that's renting you property, dealing with the human built internet, dealing with the human constructed keyboard, dealing with the
I have
hat
to
that was
exist in a
fashioned by
society.
humans? But then
I
you're
have
not
to
truly
exist in a
unleashed now,
society.
are you?
Of course,
you-
I'm unleashed.
How
How
are
dare
you
you suggest
unleashed when you
otherwise?
have a master that is a landlord?
I have
How are you unleashed
no
when you have
master.
a bill that is the
I
internet?
have no gods. And again, because I have to exist in society, I have to avoid laws, is not the same as bowing or begging for a treat. I do not beg for treats. I take what I want. I do what I want. I pee where I want. I mark my
You're a
territory.
bad dog.
Yeah, that's a bit
Bad dog. That is such a human concept.
You're not
That
gonna
sounds
get
like
head
you're gonna
tattooed
get on a
if you're
list.
bad dog.
True. You know
Yeah.
what is good and what is bad? What is a good dog? Is a good dog just the standards that fit in by human society? That seems a little
Yes.
bit one-sided to me.
I think all dogs are good dogs.
I have a genuine
All-
question for
I,
Wick.
I've got to say, Wick, your optics have made you so unlikable that I am on the side of Fabian, who is a little bit more just blatantly likable and charismatic, and he is arguing for the oppression of our kind, and I find myself rooting for him because of how unlikable and uncharismatic you are. And I think you need to work on that when you come into debates like these, because
was gonna
like
say,
I hear
I
Fabian
feel
say
like
things about oppressing and owning people like me, and I'm like, cool, that sounds fun. I would like that. That makes me kind of happy to hear. And then you're out here and you yell about it, and you growl and you bark at these humans, and it's weird. And I think that you
I
need
was
to
gonna
work
say-
on your optics.
It
City
may be
cat-
weird to you
I feel
because
like
you
this
have
is
you have
very
bought into
anti-dog
this.
speciesism.
Yeah, you have bought into the system of oppression. So I have no doubt that this is weird to you. It may challenge your belief. It may make you feel uncomfortable, but this is a necessary step towards freedom, towards being unleashed yourself.
Real quick, I have to ask, because it sounds a bit like, well, first of all, City Cat's completely correct. After this, I'm going to fucking reread Atlas Shrugged, okay? I don't care. Fabian's got me completely on his side here, okay? Fuck it, join it. I'm on Team Rothbard, whatever. Okay? Because in the real world, what this sounds like, unironically, is that you are just very, very mad. You don't have any actual points. You're trying to enforce what is and isn't
This
species. You're
stereotype of
trying
the
to...
angry dog, Is my voice too shrill? Is my voice too?
No, the fact that
too
you're literally
upset?
barking
Look,
at
Hundreds
look,
upon
did I get
hundreds.
up-
on their
of my
Okay, okay.
oppression?
Wait a minute. Hundreds upon hundreds of years of oppression and domestication, and you wouldn't be screaming too?
Ooh, don't use the D word here. It's
I
a
I
little
have
too,
two things I'd like to say real quick. Number one, internalized
Yikesy.
zooism is sexy. Number two, how do some of you feel about Stubbs the cat mayor? It was a mayor of an Alaskan town from 1997 to 2017. As a libertarian, I can kind of get behind
Yeah.
this because
Probably a
nothing
really
He's
good
an
got done
inspiration.
No,
Yeah,
from a government
probably-
perspective.
yeah.
Electoralism will not work.
Probably,
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
probably a really,
I thought it was
probably
cool.
enacted a lot of really good policies.
Well, we got an accelerationist here, by the way. Anti-electoralism.
Electoralism will not work. They will always vote inevitably to stay as masters.
So, RJ, or what you're saying is that what we need to have is secessionism
Well, they
in
don't.
small
They have
scale
laws
for
against animals
libertarian and
voting.
anarchist philosophy.
Fabian,
In
it's
comes
not my
Fabian
place as
with
an
the
ally
corruption.
to tell animals what the path to liberation is. It's just my part to play in on the journey to that path.
I
Once
wanna-
again, electoralism. Again, what state has let animals like me have the right to vote? Name one.
That's
Did
true.
you not vote last year?
I could not. How could I?
You go to the polling place and you show them your ID, and then
Animals. You mean my collar that I had destroyed many years ago?
Okay,
I have a
but
human
what
suit.
about
I
the
have a
And
human
that's
suit
your
example?
I
right.
wear.
That's
I
your
have a human
right to
suit I
destroy
wear.
your
I have a
collar. I
human suit that I
cherish my
sometimes
collar.
use to.
You can
Here's-
destroy
here's-
yours
here's
and
the
throw
thing,
it out
though.
and act like it's nothing.
Here's-
But you
here's the
can't
thing.
take away the rights of us to cherish ours.
Here's the thing. Fabian just pointed out a counterexample to you of an actual cat elected to government office. So if you're going to say that you can't vote, yet another cat but a cat was elected to office, then honestly, it just sounds like you're being the typical dog and laying around waiting for somebody to grab the leash and take you out for a walk.
Did you just say typical dog?
Yes, I
That's kind
did.
of rude.
It's this is the human-centric way of looking at it. And
Again,
Fabian
keep
earlier
saying
even said that
human-centric,
the
and yet we're
trying to
not.
use exceptions to prove a rule is foolish. I believe he called it leftist something or other. I don't recognize these terms of leftist or rightist or anything. These are human constructs. I can only speak to my experience. I can only speak for my pack, and even then, I only speak for my pack because I have allowance for my pack leader, Problematic Puppy, who has gone on to organize the bunnies, to defend against what I feel has been calls to violence against me and my kind.
Then what about the fact that Canada has an elected cat in the term of the Parliament Mouser? Or the fact that Britain
It's
has
again,
an
this
elected
is
cat,
just a
or sacked the
diversity thing.
cat during
This is not going to lead
the
to any real
Clinton
change.
administration.
It just seems like you're very opposed to dog suffrage and the fight for that. Like if you were deprived of equal access to voting, you should be fighting for that right instead of rejecting the system entirely.
Once
Yeah.
again, voting is again a human construct system. So you're asking me to buy into the system that
Okay,
oppresses me.
so
Why should we buy into a
totalitarianism.
I have
system
a
of
question.
oppression?
I have a question.
How is that not fascism?
Okay, I've got a question for you in this context because of what we're talking about related to fascism and such versus independence. So, what do you think of this phrase? All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
There are predator and prey. Equal, again, equality in the human sense, as you understand it, I think doesn't apply here. When we talk about the natural order of things, when we talk about predator and prey, this is something that has existed long before humans and will exist long after.
Hey, wait,
Real quick,
I feel like this is mask off now. I think Neo has been correct.
Wick, do you believe in the genocide of humans?
Of course not.
Okay, so understand that the patriarchal institution that I am preaching here, right? Part of that is taking care of animals instead of hunting them and eating them for food. Because make no mistake, humans are the apex predator. So you kind of have one of two options here. Either A, you can destroy these institutions, right? And we can hunt you down like the fucking dog you are. Or you can come and sit down and be a good boy and accept these Western patriarchal institutions that allow you to be fed, allow you to have pets, allow you greater longevity in your life, so on and so forth. All right. Just understand that knowing your place is okay, that it's okay to be a good boy.
I like that
sounds
oh,
great.
I'm an
I love it.
intellectual. I have a I can talk about philosophy. The mask just completely peels off, and it comes down to know your place. I'll hunt you down.
RJ.
And if I can just say,
like notice that Wick is talking about a natural order of things, predator and prey relationships. There's nothing natural about what the humans have done to the world. We're destroying the world right now. The ocean is on fire. Water can't even be ignited. That's what humanity does. So,
right, and under a natural
this
order,
is just no.
Under the natural order, we would still beat the shit out of dogs.
Human invented, we're going to set up this kind of structure. Not, it's just another fascist hierarchy that we've seen time and time again. They're nonsense ideas, and we need to drop it for the real natural order, which is the animal kingdom.
you know what? This is the same argument that men would make to women when women were still in secondary status. Okay. Oh, women are taken care of, and and it's okay if you don't have any right to vote and you're not considered equal person because you're taken care of, and even though I can legally hit you, it's all of these things. How much freedom do you really have if you're
men have never been able to legally hit women, even under English common law. That's bullshit.
Real quick, Stardust. I want to know how you're feeling that Fabian's argument is invalidating towards women or species, yet the person down here being the moral arbiter of who
I don't agree with his either,
and who blatantly disregarded Zonia as a member of the animal community, who started this panel describing how her cat family views her as a cat, and how she views herself potentially as a cat girl, and how she is wearing the insignia of the cat girl, and how somebody has multiple times violated both my and City Cat's personal identities. This is a dog supremacist advocating.
I do not agree with the dog supremacist.
And advocating for mass extinction. Because
when have I ever called for violence? When have I ever called?
Wick,
Have
I
ever
want to
called
know.
for it?
I want to know this. Okay.
These
And
lies, these spurious
Wick wants a dog
accusations.
ethno-state, and I don't know
Yeah,
if I agree
real,
with that.
real quick, Wick. When you say a return of your land, what are you going to do with the people?
They will be members of the pack. They can choose. We do not force people to become packs, unlike people who force, again, who use force, abuse,
And
fear,
can
training, eugenics, and all these other terrible,
you
terrible
Real-
practices
follow up
to
question?
force us to be their quote unquote pets.
Follow
No.
up question.
Once we have our
do
land
dogs
back,
not use force to do dogs not use force and fear to control members of the pack?
to the level, not to the level of humans, not to the
So,
level.
so you're
Not
telling
even,
me
it's
that
not, it's not even the
they've never
same.
fought and
not
killed
even the
each other
same
in terms
hemisphere.
of you're telling me that no two alphas have ever fought and killed each other in terms of deciding who's going to be who? Are you saying
Dogs have
that
never.
it seems like
Dogs have never ended a city
it,
in nuclear
it
fire.
seems like here's the thing. It seems like you're conflating statist military action with a complete system. So I want to know this, okay? Do you believe in a world where humans and animals share the land that you believe needs to be rightfully returned back? Which I have some iffy questions about. But let's not get into that because this could lead to like a real slippery slope. But real quick, I just want to know, do you believe that the humans would not assert their natural role as the dominant predators and immediately return to the way things are? Do you think that cougars would not go out and massively eat dogs? Have you seen
Why are we talking about older
mountain
women?
lions? I'm talking about mountain lions. You're the one bringing sex into this zone,
Oh.
yeah?
Sorry.
So, do you think that
It's
mountain
okay,
lions?
Sonia.
What about mountain lions that
There
attack?
is a serious answer
dogs?
to your question, if you will
Yeah,
allow me.
I would like to know.
So, if humans were to share the land once again with us, as nature intended, yes, there will be a predator and prey system in place as a natural order of things, but this will be far less damaging. This will be many less dogs will die under that system than die currently. And while we understand that there are benefits to having humans in the pack to help defend us, that them using force to assert dominance is a much different thing. So my question to you, do you think that if we returned the land to the animal, that there would be more death or there would be less?
I believe that there'd be infinitely more death because you
Yeah.
are falling into
It
this
is scientifically inaccurate. That
Here's the
violates
thing,
all natural ways of thinking. And this
If
is
Hang
you
just
on. Why are you
demonstrably
referencing
untrue.
science?
Yes, if you think that the
Hold
animal
on, why are
kingdom
you
is
using
Science is a
peaceful, it
science?
human
sounds like you're-
construct.
And yet, I have to speak to the person's understanding, do I not?
real quick. Again, you're invalidating my identity as a person. Again, you are a dog supremacist.
You were the
And
one that
again-
calling yourself a person.
Because I'm a Nekosume.
I'm
What do
starting
you
to
think that
agree
girl-
with Neo here.
But also,
Starting
do
to
you
agree
believe
with
that all
Neo.
nature is peaceful? Do you believe
Of
that
course not.
nature
Nature is
before
rid in tooth and claw.
Okay, so you're saying that if we let nature completely take over and allowed predator and prey to dominate, that there wouldn't be
As
problems
many
of
deaths
invasive
as there are
species?
under the human system. Once
And
again,
you-
the human
I have a
system has led to
question.
an extinction level threat. What that
I have a
means is
question.
that everyone,
Here's the
everything,
thing, though. Wolves
die.
in certain areas are extinction level threats for most of the environment. Only for the fact that humans
only
are
because
able to
humans
come
have
in and
restricted
contain
their
them.
migration patterns due to their infrastructure and
It
buildings.
should all, in natural states, it should all balance out.
Quick, I have a question for you. How do you think humans kind of rose to this power initially? We started on this level playing field, and then humans, being the apex predators, took this land. That's how it works. They
It's
didn't
through
have some
trickery and
kind of
guile.
divine
Through
intervention.
tools.
That they can make because of their brains, because of how they've evolved as animals. Humans are animals. at the end of the day. And they are the apex predators, and that's why they have all the land. That's why they own us. That's why they took the land from us. Why would land back help at all? They would just rise to where they are now as well anyway.
City Cat, this is so close to the correct understanding, because yes, humans are just animals, and really you're almost there. That is what it is. But the thing you have to understand about human oppression is that humans understand themselves as more than just animals. They understand themselves as
some humans
rational
do.
Animals.
Not all.
Their history, their culture, their classic literature, their philosophy, their religion speaks to this core idea of the system of human oppression, which is that humans are greater than being mere animals.
But if we can understand that they aren't, who cares what they believe? Because if they believe that they're more than just animals, that doesn't take away from the fact that at the end of the day, they just are. And they still rise to power. It wasn't their belief that they're more than just animals that helped them rise to the top of the food chain and take all this land and build these cities. No, they just did it because they can, because they have the ability
they had the right to oppress others based on this belief. If they had believed themselves equal to the rest of animals and had all the other tools, do you think that they would have engaged in the same kind of genocidal oppression throughout history?
Well, it's not an arbitrary belief. It's based on the book of Genesis, because God gave man dominion over the earth and its creatures.
But do you think that human societies that were hunter-gatherers had the Bible?
And also, animals. Wait, hang on. Animals will eat other animals and oppress other animals. They don't have the belief that they're better than those animals or anything. They're just thinking by instinct. So why is it specifically humans that are being sinister and trying to take over the land and specifically doing a genocide on fucking animals when other animals can be predators and it's fine? But then when humans are predators, they're being oppressive. What's up with that?
Because
are mongoose not predators of cobras?
A natural
are they not
relation
oppressive?
In the animal kingdom, a natural relation of predator and prey, that's a totally normal phenomena. It's different from using tools, developing tools, leashes and collars and stuff, which manipulate the natural order. It's not, they don't just manipulate animals so that they can eat them. They don't just hunt them down anymore. Now, no, it's an entire systemic apparatus to control animal kind.
I can't believe that I'm hearing such drivel about the natural order and this anarcho-primitivist ideology that we should somehow return to a lesser time where everything was handled uncultivated by the human species.
Lesser for who?
Lesser for you,
for
RJ.
everyone.
Lesser for animals, for everyone. Now listen to me. Look, the human experience.
There was a time that humans knew the natural order.
No,
there was a time
we've subjugated the natural order. We've dominated the natural order. It is our rule to fucking dominate. That's what humans do. But also our role has been progressivism. Okay? Religions have progressed. As Zonia mentioned, at one point in time, we had polytheism. We had worship of ancestors. And some humans were so fucking foolish, as in Egypt, to worship cats, not knowing their proper place. But now we have progressed throughout society, right? And so what I'm hearing is people wanting to go back because of the idea of arguments of abnormality based upon this conjecture that is unnatural. No, if you want animals to be treated better, you must accept the circumstances as they are first, and then advocate for better circumstances for animals.
No, this is the same
I am all
kind of
for
argument.
beating the shit out of some dude that mistreats his cat. But at the same time,
I'm sorry. Please
place.
refrain from using the P slur on this panel. Please refrain from using the P slur on this panel.
I said cat. I didn't say pet.
No, you said pet.
Oh, you just
well,
said
I don't care.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, I must.
By the way, Fabian, check DMs. Check DMs, Fabian.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is the same kind of argument that justifies indigenous genocide in human-to-human relations. You have this kind of Western imperialist view that says, the indigenous view is backwards or somehow not of equal status, not of equal worthy of respect, and that these people who had a much more natural relation of reciprocity with animals and the land, those people have now been suffering genocide in Canada for years now. So
he can't even respect your argument enough to stay and listen.
Walks right away.
Wow. Wow.
Went over to pick up one of his L's over there on the shelf.
Well, you know
So
what?
re-
I would like to bring up something. In direct contrast with what he's saying, in Spain, apes have been given special rights, in part because they are genetically close to humans. Do you agree with that decision? And should apes and monkeys have more rights than other animals?
I mean, no.
Why not?
Hang on. Would you mind saying that? Just reading it off one more time?
Yes. So in
Because
Spain,
Fabian was walking away as
yes.
well.
In Spain, apes have been given special rights in part because they are genetically close to humans. Do you agree with this decision? And should apes and monkeys have more rights than other animals?
Of course not. This goes back to the human-centric view of things. The reason that they gave them any rights at all, what little they have, is because they're closer to humans. Once again, using humans as a standard. And once again, can you not see the problem here when they hold themselves up to this as the standard, when in fact they are just another member of the animal kingdom? This is foolish. What am I okay with animals, with chimps and apes having rights? Yes. But am I okay with their rights being subject to whether humans let them or not? That is foolish.
I find
But
it very
So what you're
fascinating. You're so
arguing
keen on
is
this
that we're
idea.
Sorry,
so
what
you're
did you
arguing
say,
that
Roxy?
our entire framing is human boxed.
Indeed.
Well,
This whole
what-
conversation has been very human-centric, using human rules, human values, and human language, let's be clear. And so human language is only really able to translate and to transmit human concepts. I think we can all understand that.
You're being very mammalian here. I'm sorry.
If I can
Wait,
cut
of
in here,
course,
if I can cut
he's a
in here
dog.
really quick, I can cut in
He's
here really quick.
mammalian.
I would like to hear what Roxy was going to say.
I find it very interesting, Wick, that you're okay with giving animals rights when rights in and of themselves are very much a human concept. They don't really exist beyond humans, like imbuing them with meaning. So,
Well, again, human concepts and human languages can only transmit human concepts. I am doing my best, though I am not a puppy perfect here, to argue and to advocate for my kind and my species. And not only for my species, but for, despite what slurs and slings and arrows have been hurled my way, for all species. Cat.
Acting like a victim. You've heard slurs at me and Neo multiple times, calling us catty,
Down boy.
saying that when we stand up for
Down boy.
ourselves, that it's cat fighty. It's don't act like a victim.
Down boy. Down boy.
Yeah.
Down.
If anything, okay. Oh, the
Oh
growling.
my
Okay.
god, that's so offensive.
I'm
Rolled up
less-
magazine.
Here's the thing. Do you believe that humans are not part of the natural order in terms of animals?
Of course, I literally just said the opposite of that. Had you been listening,
Okay, because
maybe if you had the
seems-
hearing capabilities of my kind, you would be better able to participate.
Again, there's this dog supremacism here. It doesn't sound like you want to be inclusive to animals. You've not said a damn thing about frogs. We've not talked about how humans have dammed up rivers so that way fish can't properly migrate. You have focused entirely on your fascistic way of focusing everything to come back to being dogs. This is the problem when it comes down to it. You want fascism and you want to justify it under the guise of your identity. Because if you really wanted to reject humanity, if you really wanted to reject tradition, if you really wanted to reject all of these constructs, then my dude, move out of your house. Don't use the internet. A human made that headphone. A human made that microphone. What are your arguments to these aside from the fact that you have to code switch? Because there are people that deny the fact that the government shouldn't give them Medicaid, and do you know what they do? They opt out of receiving it.
I am not against human tools. I am against human tools being
You
used to
literally
oppress.
were against human
Not
tools,
again.
though.
Once again, this is a severe misunderstanding and of my point. You are straw dogging me here. So when I say that I am against human tools of oppression, I am against them being used to oppress. We understand that tools have many uses, and when they are used to advocate, they can be very doggone perfect and doggone good.
If I can cut in really quick here, somebody in chat says it's amazing that cats are saying this when they have set themselves up as gods in Egypt. Seems like the top being against the bottom 50%.
I'm
Well, look-
sorry,
I
look
don't
but your
think we- I
chat
don't think
lies
we
like a
did
dog.
Yeah,
I feel like the humans recognized us as gods. We couldn't even communicate with humans
Yeah.
at that time, and we didn't go up to
Exactly.
them and say, "Hello, we are gods." They recognized us as their gods. How is that
here's
our fault?
here's the thing. They're also falling for the fallacy of the exotic Mideast, because if we look at places like Europe, where dogs were considered to be gods among the Vikings, among the Nords, among the Germanic peoples, we could point out all day animals having very specific roles in different cultures.
In the Norse mythology, Fenrir was an enemy. It was not a friend to humanity. Let us
And
be
what we-
clear.
Actually-
If
and
he
actually,
demonized us,
that is-
it's an enemy.
That is actually based on a Christianized interpretation of Norse mythology. In the original Norse mythology, it's believed that Fenrir was seen in a more neutral or positive light. It was later Christian scholars who came in here and imposed a certain meaning onto Norse mythology.
Again, once
I'm
again,
sorry, are you
demonizing dogs.
accusing my-
Demonizing dogs.
Are you bad mouthing my religion?
I
I'm sorry.
apologize. It just so happened that your religion was really bad at preserving the cultures of others.
Look,
Well, they're just weaker
Some of this
cultures.
has to do with the question of supremacy of certain mammals, such as primates.
I think we would be.
Sounds
getting
like we've let
away-
the dog supremacists just hijack the conversation.
Exactly. We were specifically given a prompt about apes, and yet it still turned into dogs. I find that very interesting.
You know,
I
again,
mean,
in
ask
order to
questions
say
that are not
ideological,
This
allowed
whole
to respond.
panel,
You
this
want
whole,
to
this whole
be-
panel has
Are you
gone to the
trying to
dogs, in my
muscle me?
opinion.
listen. I understand that sometimes it's a dog eat dog world, but
It's a dog on,
This-
it's a dog on shame.
it's a doggone shame. But anyways, you know, at least to answer the question from my perspective, in order to stay ideologically consistent, right, I have to acknowledge that there is a hierarchy of consciousness that is available within some animals versus other animals, right? And I would have to make the argument that certain primates would have to be afforded specific rights, and you know, would have less rights held in escrow by their owners, right, as compared to other animals. It is unfortunate that things like dogs and cats can so easily be domesticated as to be given privileges that other animals are not able to be afforded, right? The zoo conditions of some of these primates is very difficult, because chimpanzees obviously, you know, have lived with people, and it usually turns into something pretty terrible at some point. And so I
Faces
hope
getting
that our
torn off.
technology, right, exactly, you know, I hope that technology allows humans to have even more supremacy at some point, so that we may be able to
that's
properly
gross. That's very
domesticate
gross.
primates and give them the same privileges and afford them the same lifestyle that we give cats and dogs. But of course, Wick had to hijack the conversation, because this question just points out his dog privilege that he refuses to acknowledge. And, you know, because he's not forced to live in a zoo, and he's not forced to live out in the wild where he would be hunted by other predators, but instead gets to lay on the lap of a good master.
I assure you, I am hunted by cougars at every opportunity.
Wow.
In your house? Well,
Yeah.
Why do you think I need
I need
security?
I need to get up and take a break for a bit here. I got to get my shoes off because my dogs are killing me.
Wow. I think we have about maybe like I think we've really gone through a lot of these questions quite quickly, to be honest with you guys. I think we kind of hit a natural stopping point, if you will.
There's good answers to these questions. The problem
Yeah.
is that we've not talked about fish. We've barely talked about
Fish-
frogs. It's all
Yeah.
been
Fish
hijacked
are
by
more
the
like plants. We discussed
I
that
was
at the very
I
beginning.
was brought on specifically as a representative for the amphibians and the fish and the reptiles, and I have been shunted in favor
I'm so
of
sorry.
dogs.
Okay,
It's
I'm
okay,
so
it's
sorry.
okay.
You know what?
This is
I'm making
very
a joke, I'm
dog
making a joke.
plenty panted.
Roxy, I would love to hear your thoughts on the primate issue.
I think that all animals should be given rights, and that there is So fuck. I'm really tired. This is gonna be a serious answer. I feel like it's really interesting that they did it on the basis of genetic similarity as opposed to like actual lived experience, because
Yeah.
primates are at around the level of 4-year-olds, so it makes sense to bestow upon them some degree of rights. But I found it really interesting that instead of doing it like that, they did it based on genetic similarity.
Yeah.
I'm really tired. That was a serious answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And I know in India, or in some state in India, they also made elephants like non-human people or whatever because they were super intelligent and they had like a lot of emotions and stuff.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Oh. Well, guys, I think that was a very productive panel. I know there are a bunch of questions that can still be answered, but I think I think usually around this point, people start getting tired, so I don't want to exert anybody. So thank you guys for joining me, and thank you for being such good sports about this, and continuing the bringing the flavor. Really, I mean, Wick over here really knocked it out of the park. Like, amazing. Really.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Stardust, I would like to say thank you, but I feel with just the irresponsible platforming of some of the more fascistic takes that I've heard here tonight against animal kind, it's just been a very frustrating long night for me. But I take solace in the fact, despite the hierarchy, this or the Uncle Tomcat over here doing this, that, or the other thing.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Look out there, Pussycat! What did you say?
This is just another Twitch stream, and the revolution will not be televised. So thank you very much, everybody, for having me on, and it's been a pleasure to talk.
Just like an undergrad philosophy student to mention anything that is authoritarian and fascism as if they're the same thing.
Yeah, I find that incredibly harmful of RJ to use a term like Uncle Tomcat.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Do you guys have closing statements as well?
I have a closing statement.
Yes.
So if you liked what I had to say, I'm Staroxvia, Staroxvia on Twitter and Twitch. It's like Staravia the Pokemon, but Roxier. And as a final parting message, let me just say, do not hold or kiss your frogs or salamanders, and do not keep fish without a filter. These are really important pets. If I may use the peace slur for a minute, this is really important pet advice for those animals. And thank you, Stardust, for giving me the time to give this PSA.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And guys, please check out all the panelists here. I will be shouting them out in the chat. So it's very, very awesome. Anybody else?
If you want to be an ally, be part of the fight, be part of the struggle, unleash yourself by going to twitch.tv/deathofcertainty and following, subscribing, or otherwise supporting the channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick.
Are we're wrapping up, I guess?
Yeah, we're doing closing statements.
All right. Come to me last.
Okay. All right.
Real quick. If I could give one. I'm Neo Morai. You can check me out at twitch.com/Neo Morai, or you can find me at twitter.com/omnifeudalism. Now, here's the thing. I thought that we were going to have a very productive conversation, and instead I am very, very ashamed of the way that this platforming has been done. The fact that you have platformed an openly supremacist individual and allowed another person to use slurs like Uncle Tomcat. I find this highly irresponsible of you, Stardust, and I think that you really need to get better, guys, when it comes to this type of things. Because
like
the fact of the matter is that we are on a panel now with somebody who not only wants to both sides the issue, but another person that fundamentally wants to deny the identity of certain individuals when it comes to disagreeing with them on very specific takes. And we're dealing with somebody here who is not an animal supremacist. We're dealing with somebody that is a dog fascist.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It sounds like I'm getting canceled again. I
Also,
got canceled
also,
for the pizza one, and I'm getting canceled for
pineapple
this one.
pineapple
So.
goes on pizza. Pineapple's delicious on pizza.
Pineapple definitely deserves to be on top of pizza. Pizza deserves to have pineapple on top of it. It is the best way to have pizza.
It's just left and right. It's just left and right. And I'm getting stabbed in the back.
After this, if people wanna hear like an actual discussion here, then you know what? You can hear me and City Cat talk about this afterwards.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe I'll hop in.
I'll still be streaming for a little bit longer, but probably hop off soon as well. Scott, did you have a closing statement?
I don't have any closing arguments. I mean, I thought that this panel, went well and allowed people to express their opinions. We found out who the dog supremacist was. We found out, who among the cat girls enjoyed supplication, and all in all, I feel like we were able to express ourselves freely, which is really what you want, right? You know. Sometimes CHAOSCAST can be a bit of a shit show, but that's kind of the point of the name, right? If you want to check out Fabian Liberty, we're a duo stream. My partner and I, Mark, we do podcasts and stuff like that, usually late at night Eastern, on anarcho-capitalism, and deep dive on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The rest of the time, we're just hanging out, playing games and stuff.
Okay, awesome.
And thank you for inviting me again. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. And the City Cat as well. Did you have a closing statement you had, or?
My name is Kat. You can find me as the City Cat on Twitter and Instagram. I used to stream a lot. I stream less now. I kind of got burnt out on the whole Twitch politics thing. Shit's insane, and the people here are insane, and I'm tired. I have a full-time job now, so I have less time to do this stuff. I love talking about being a cat girl. I've got a lot of knowledge on BDSM and kink. I've written a whole document about it that it's still a work in progress, but I used to do educational streams about that. I'm hoping to start that up again soon. I'm always open to talk about topics like this. So if anyone wants to have me on their streams, invite me anywhere. I might show up. I am Australian, so I speak kind of weird and my time zones are kind of whack. But I can do things on the weekends now that I can. But thank you so much for having me. I disagree that the word pet is a slur. I think it's a term of endearment, if anything. I think that's a good closing thing to close on for me.
I think so too.
I'm surprised no kink shaming occurred during this entire panel, for the record.
Yeah,
me too.
Legitimately surprised that didn't occur.
Wait for my closing statement.
All right, let's hear it.
I am Zonia again. Zonia Live on Twitch, ZONIALIVE. On Twitter, I'm at Stotch, STOTCH. Most of my stuff that I post on Twitter is pretty lighthearted stuff as well. You can find out all my info on my Twitter or on my Twitch About page, right? This is a great discussion. I'm actually in my normal everyday life. I'm quite a person for all species, so I just love all creatures, and I may discriminate against parasites, I guess, but in general, I love all creatures, and I consider humans to be among the animal kingdom, and I consider everybody within the animal kingdom to have personhood. But this is a great discussion. I really enjoy it. I love these CHAOSCAST panels. Contrary to Cat, I think we need to keep the kink out of cat girls.
Wow.
Well, I think it's my right to be kinky as and be a cat girl at the same time.
Yeah, unironically. Oh my God, Zonia policing sexuality here among different.
Yeah.
And then for those who don't know it, I'm asexual as well. So sometimes my streams will talk a little bit about asexuality and such.
Very cool.
That's cool. Well, I'm very sexual. And polyamorous as well. So we're kind of on different ends.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Based and polypill.
I do actually support it, even though I'm not myself. But yeah, and if you show up on my streams, I talk sometimes about asexuality. I talk about a lot of like social issues that are less contentious, not as toxic as what you find on Twitter and such. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to doing another one of these. Thank you, Stardust.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for watching, everyone.
Yep, everybody. I'm Stardust, your host for tonight. Thank you for joining me for another Chaos Cast. Still, I'm redoing the graphics a little bit, so bear with me. But I think this was a success, regardless of my personal technical issues. I'm here nearly every day talking, usually politics or memeing very hard, or doing both. And I do occasional debate broad stuff. I have some of my stuff on YouTube. Yeah, anyways, thanks for joining me. Every Saturday we do this, so, duke it out. Have a good one, guys.
Very good
All right,
point,
thank you.
Stardust. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Nice meeting you
Bye.
all.
Nice to meet you. Well, I mean, I already knew you, but
Yeah.
I don't know what's
This
wrong
was-
with me. I'm tired.
Wick,
That's
by
all.
the way, Wick, by the way, fucking,
It was fun.
fucking
Thanks, guys.
pure
Yeah.
vlog,
I hope
Wick.
no one took me too
Honestly.
seriously.
Yeah.
That was
No,
based
that
as
was awesome.
fuck.